the high. Let's be prepared for thunderstorms in the metro area from around 7 to 10 p.m. Wind, hail, tornadoes, all on the table. And then rain chances wind down quickly overnight as we drop to a low of 69. A spot shower or two around Thursday, much cooler at 79. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Let's get moving, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on NewsTalkSTL.
Could the Democrats have a winning message in 2028 with the midterms when it comes to affordability? Well, we know what they're doing wrong, reaching out to the mainstream and the middle of America. Is that their secret weapon, and can they capitalize on it? A little bit later on today, this is going to be unusual. We've got a former Democratic congressman scheduled to be on the show, Joe Cunningham, and we're going to talk to him about that because he's saying that the Democrats need to get back to the basics on the issues that affect people and get away from all the crazy stuff. Can they actually do it? Hey, good morning. Happy Wednesday to you. Mike Ferguson here. One of the things that I wish we kept in mind a little more than we do these days is everything that was done to violate our rights and also, frankly, threaten our safety and our health during all the COVID lockdown era. There's a new documentary out right now that you can watch for free called The Lockdown Dissenters, and we'll tell you where to find that here in just a moment. But it was produced and directed by Michael Pack, who was actually on the show with us on Tuesday. Here's what we uncovered in that discussion. You notice that what was extreme and considered dangerous and what was, frankly, censored a few years ago during the COVID stupidity and the dangerous stupidity. And of course, the other side will say, well, the danger was you people not wearing a mask and not standing 6 feet away from each other and walking in single file in the grocery store and all that. But the danger that we've seen, the harm that was done from all of the lockdowns and all of the fear mongering and everything. Have you noticed that the pushback against that and the ability to question it and the ability to say, we're not going to do that again, that's becoming more mainstream?
Yes, as it should be.
Yeah. And that is a crucial step. That's a really important step that not only are enough people saying maybe we were wrong, but maybe one of the lessons that we've learned is, okay, we're not going to say to people, you're not allowed to question. You're not allowed to ask questions. You're not allowed to point out flaws. You're not allowed to push back. And matter of fact, right now, the Wall Street Journal has a series of documentaries. And one of those is called The Lockdown Dissidents. And this is a documentary that's been produced that's now available on WSJ Opinion, Wall Street Journal opinion page, The Lockdown Dissidents. And you can watch it right now. It is not behind a paywall or anything. And so the producer of that and the director of that is Michael Pack, and we're kind of going back and forth trying to connect. Something's going on with the phone line to get him. But the crucial thing on this is that we've now got truly, Wall Street Journal may be one of the most mainstream of the mainstream old media. And, while they're not as conservative as they used to be, they're centrist. And now they're including this perspective in their opinion page on their video opinion page. One, you can watch this video right now and do it without any paywall or anything like that. And so it's a full on documentary. And I think it's going to be crucial to the discussion here. And joining us right now is the producer and the director of The Lockdown Dissidents. His name is Michael Pack. And again, you can see this WSJ Opinion, Wall Street Journal Opinion. Michael, thanks for being on the program. And yes, I understand that with the film, it is about what happened before. But to me, here's what I'm taking from all this. Mm-hmm. It's more about not letting it happen again. Am I reading something right in your work here?
Absolutely. That's the key thing. We have found that people, although the COVID and the lockdowns were the biggest thing that happened domestically and maybe globally in many years, people try to move on and not think about it. But if we don't kind of understand what happened, I'd say a giant blunder by public health professionals, and then a stripping us of our right and a censoring of people who didn't agree, it'll happen again. Next pandemic or the next emergency, actually.
Yeah, I think you're right. And this was some of the complaints that a lot of us had at the time, and we were demonized and we were ostracized. And so I suspected that there is going to be some element of people saying, I feel vindicated. And there's a value in that. There really is. But I'm more interested in the look ahead that you're just talking about. So we go look up the WSJ opinion, and we'll post the link on all of our social media, Michael, so people can see it. Even if somebody says, no, I wanted everybody to wear a mask, I wanted everybody to be forced to get a vaccine, I was scared to death. What's the value in everybody seeing that, not just those of us who want to feel validated, because we now look back and say, we were right about some stuff? Why should everybody check this out?
Well, that's right. We particularly want people who, maybe didn't agree during COVID to see the film, which, as you say, is at WSJ.com. You can just search for Lockdown Dissidents, or you can go to the WSJ.com/opinion docs and see all three of our films, all free, I should add, not behind the Wall Street Journal's paywall, or our own website, PalladiumPictures.com. We wanted to partner with Wall Street Journal, a great partner, but we wanted to partner with them to reach a broader audience, to reach people who are maybe in the middle and aren't committed to one side or the other in many political issues, and were maybe confused during COVID. Why did it happen? Where did these rules come from? So we in this film try to tell the story, not advocate a point of view of what happened starting in December of 2019 and then going through 2020 when COVID came here. And then it's an inside look at what happened inside the Trump and Biden administrations, and then what happened later when voices such as yours, but especially these prominent scientists, Jay Bhattacharya, Scott Atlas, and others, were actually silenced. They were suppressed. Their social media accounts were suppressed. The government approached social media companies and asked them to censor these people. I mean, we should never let that happen again.
Yeah, and so tell me about some of the, you just mentioned a couple names, but when you're looking for the opinions in the documentary, you're looking for the facts, you're looking for that, who jumped out at you in making this film that maybe will surprise us the most, or maybe will be something that we're going to take from more than we expected?
Well, I think, we did focus a lot on Jay Bhattacharya, who is now the head of the NIH, so that is a kind of indication, and Scott Atlas, who were early identifying the errors of the lockdown and were perhaps censored and persecuted most. But in a way, what was surprising to me was Robert Redfield, who was then the acting head of the CDC, that even his voice, such an insider, he was supportive of the Great Barrington Declaration, apparently, but he was really unable to get those views out. And you can kind of see in the film the way that Tony Fauci, Deborah Birx had a sort of lock on opinions coming out of the White House and actively suppressed others, most notably Scott Atlas, but apparently Robert Redfield too.
We are visiting with Michael Pack. He's the producer and director of The Lockdown Dissidents. That's a documentary that you can watch right now for free, no paywall, at Wall Street Journal Opinion. So WSJ.com. Then I think it's just /opinion docs, I think is what it is. But if you look up The Lockdown Dissidents, you'll be able to watch this. And so, Michael, I'm glad you mentioned the Great Barrington Declaration, because that was early on, and there was a war against the signatories on that, and that was a precursor to the censorship that you just referenced from Birx and from Fauci and from all of the others. So break down for me with the film, looking at what was true and what was not, and then also looking at, but then there was a war over the narrative, because we heard so much about the science, and every local health department, the health departments throughout the country were basically saying, we will instill rules based on CDC guidelines when CDC has no authority whatsoever. And people's lives were upended and ruined, and businesses were killed off, and children were denied school. We know they're behind. So there are just so many elements to this in a fairly short documentary that you're covering.
Yes, only 37 minutes, but we really are, respect people's time, and I think that's a reasonable time commitment. But you're right. So the Scott Atlas, Jay Bhattacharya, they were collecting evidence starting in March that really proved, even then, that early, that COVID was disproportionately affecting older people. Young people were particularly not at risk. And they early on proposed focused protection, focus on older people, let young people go about their business, especially open schools. But they were ignored, and then that was March, April. But by October, the data was really clear. I mean, even Europe had open schools, so we could see a massive experiment on a continental scale that there were no problems. But in America, places like California, New York, schools wouldn't open for 1 or 2 years subsequently. So in October, Jay Bhattacharya, from Stanford, Martin Kulldorff from Harvard, and Sunetra Gupta from Oxford signed this great Barrington Declaration that summarized those views and recommended, again, focused protection. And they were immediately attacked. Francis Collins, then head of the NIH, wrote to Anthony Fauci saying these were fringe epidemiologists, although Stanford, Harvard, Oxford, not fringe schools, and that there needed to be a devastating takedown of their views, not a free-flowing discussion. And they really organized opposition right then to make sure that scientific journals criticized them, that they were excoriated in the press, that their ideas were sort of straw men and mocked. And even then, that early, Jay and others were getting death threats because Fauci and others and Collins had created the impression that Jay and the others in the Great Barrington were going to kill, their ideas would kill millions of people. So they thought they were potentially mass murderers rather than people with a different scientific view. And of course, that really got ramped up when Biden came into office.
Yeah, and there's a couple follow-up points I think that are interesting on that. One is that Francis Collins, after everything reopened, admitted that they were just making stuff up out of thin air. I mean, he actually said that the 6-foot thing and a lot of the mask ideas and things like that they were just making stuff up because they had to give people something. So at what point was the conflict, if you will, more about defending the authority than it was actually about any concept of public health? Because when the pushback came, it became about don't question. You just must comply. You're going to kill people if you don't comply. And it became about the authority as opposed to thinking things through.
I think it was pretty quick. I mean, in the beginning, no one understood COVID. I mean, in a way, 15 days to slow the spread, the first idea, not unreasonable. 15 days, that's not that much time. See what happens. So, January, February, March, okay. But within 3 months, the counter evidence was coming in, and these government scientists were purposely not listening. I think one key moment early on was in December. As you know, the virus came out of Wuhan, China, and Wuhan, Chinese government, being a totalitarian government, really locked Wuhan down with a totality unimaginable. People were locked into their rooms. In some cases, they were welded. Their doors were welded shut. I mean, it was radical. I mean, they really locked everyone down. And then the WHO came to China and declared that a great success and a model for the world. And that was the beginning of that erroneous model. It originated from China even more surely than COVID did. And the world had never responded that way. We've had pandemics. We've had similar to COVID pandemics for years. We always just did the focused protection that Jay and others recommended, which would lock down those at risk, not everybody. Entire societies, entire cities, countries locking down. It was a unique approach. It was truly novel, and it came out of China. It had the approval of WHO and then the CDC. And once it had the imprimatur of these both global and national authorities, then they were stuck. Within a few months, they were just entrenched in their opinions. And it was about power. Scott Atlas says in the film that as soon as he joined the COVID task force, Anthony Fauci said to him, their problem was the public wasn't afraid enough. They had to make the public more afraid or they wouldn't comply. And as Scott says, that is not really an ethical way to do public health.
No, and that's not science at all. We're a little bit over time. I've just got another quick question for you. Michael Pack, the producer and director of The Lockdown Dissonance. When you were describing what was happening in China, you know where my mind went? My mind went to my daughter, who was in college at the time and was locked in her dorm room, and they were sliding food underneath the doors and nobody was allowed out, as though they were prisoners. So what you described in China, minus the welding of the doors, happened to my daughter and all of her college volleyball teammates in Kansas. And so that did get exported as much as anything else.
It's crazy, and it's un-American as well as unscientific that we give up our basic rights, and we should never do it again.
On a mass scale, on a popular scale, Michael, did we learn our lesson from this, or do we have to worry about this sort of authoritarianism again?
I hate to be pessimistic, but I don't really think we've learned our lesson. I mean, that's why I made the film. I think we have to, people such as you, we have to call people's attention to this, or it will happen again. I don't think we've learned that lesson. A lot of the COVID skeptics, COVID dissidents like Jay, are in the Trump administration, but most of the bureaucracy of these organizations remains the same. And I think the American public, as I said at the very beginning, sort of wants to move on. But if we don't look back at this, I think it will happen again. Maybe in another public health emergency, maybe a different kind of emergency. I don't think we've learned the lesson enough. I mean, some people have, but I think there's a lot of people who have not, and that's why I made the film.
All right, it is Wednesday, and that means we need your bump music request for Flashback Friday this coming Friday. Send us a note. You can email Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com, or you can send us your requests on social media as well. Got a lot of ground to cover here today, including taking a look at the race for county executive in Jefferson County. Candidate Tim Whitney going to be with us just a little bit later on today, right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Just the convenience on the phone.
Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime.
Everywhere.
Anywhere.
Chris Arps here, and after Becky and I leave church on Sunday, we head down the street to Capriotti's to grab a classic meatball sub. I love Capriotti's, and you will too. Visit Capriotti's now at 2 locations on Manchester, McKnight, and Rock Hill, and now in Creve Coeur on Olive, just 1 mile west of 270.
Life's legal challenges deserve experienced representation. For over 15 years, Cole Combs Attorney at Law has been serving St. Charles and surrounding counties with comprehensive legal expertise. From tax preparation and estate planning to family law and criminal defense, Cole delivers personalized solutions for your unique situation. You have traffic tickets, need a business formation, real estate matters, one call will handle it all. Cole O. Combs Attorney at Law. Call 636-949-0010 extension 3 today, or visit colecombs-law.com.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
JC's Wayback Machine.
It's Father's Day weekend, so we'll have lots of songs about dear old dad.
I married your mother because I wanted children. Imagine my disappointment when you arrived.
We'll also bring in the first day of summer, and our A-list interview of the week is with Dana Carvey.
So I walk into the Oval Office, blown away. I see Bush, and I go, Mr. President. And then I saw Quayle, and without thinking, I went, Dan!
All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9 on News Talk STL.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At U.S. Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With U.S. Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
U.S. Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care. Personalized care plans, convenient access to cutting-edge diabetes tech, and knowledgeable support. Plus, we'll check your insurance so your diabetes care may be covered at little or no cost to you.
With US Med, I feel confident and control of my diabetes. I can finally live my life to the fullest.
Don't let diabetes hold you back. Choose US Med and experience better birthdays, better adventures, better anniversaries, and better everything. Call now. US Med. Better service, better care. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
The news was kind of breaking on yesterday's program while we were kind of wrapping up the show that the FBI says there was a plot to attack that UFC event at the White House over the weekend. So it looks like there's over 20 people who the investigators think are involved in this. 5 have been arrested. I guess these are the believed to be the ringleaders. One of them's actually from Missouri.
Wow.
Yeah, so I have no idea whether these guys are all capable of doing this or whether this was just a bunch of bloviating on social media. But they had armed up. They'd bought weapons. They'd bought ammo. They had plans to go there, and the plan was simple. Yet it seems like something that could have worked.
Yeah, to my knowledge, they originally were planning on, I guess, strapping some sort of device to a drone and having that be the initial launch, and then they wanted to also have a gunman come in and do whatever extra damage.
Right, basically some kind of explosive off of a drone, and then when obviously that would create an evacuation situation, and then have people stationed to start hitting their targets, and so we're still learning more about all of the guys. Maybe this was just a bunch of losers in mom's basement, aging range from late teens to early 30s. But maybe they were capable, But the bottom line is that they had planned and they had coordinated. Their their signal chats and all that have been intercepted, and so it looks like there's a real strong case against them. And so I don't know that this was something that was like imminent and they got to it right in the nick of time, or whether it's something they foiled before they could go into the execution part of this. That seems to be the case. But they were pretty serious about this, and then obviously now there's a scramble to find out what do we know about these 5 who have been arrested.
Yeah, this was not just people talking about a hypothetical of like what
they
if
weren't
this,
fantasizing.
Yeah, they were even saying what if this happened, or these could be security risks. These were people that it appears to be actively were plotting an actual sort of event to happen like that. From what I've seen so far is that I guess one of them claimed that they were doing this because they wanted to kickstart the revolution, whatever that means. I don't know. We got so many accelerationist type groups out there right now that are just filled with maniacs, so it's really hard to kind of assign any sort of other motive at this point.
Some of the other stuff is, basically anti-capitalism type of stuff that we're seeing, and then there was apparently talk of targeting anybody who had any sort of relationship, financial or political or otherwise, with AIPAC as well. So more anti-Semitism. That this is what the anti-Semitism drives people to. But then the whole, so it sounds like you probably have some maybe redneck Antifa types, if you can mix those two. But we'll learn more in the coming days and weeks from all of this. It's a weird situation. I don't know that this was necessarily a close call, but it had at least gotten to some advanced stages.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
News Talk STL is turning 5, and you're invited to the party. Join us Friday night, June 26th at Frankie Martin's Garden in Cottleville for a totally rad celebration with the Retro Nerds, St. Louis's favorite 80s tribute band. Live on the outside stage from 7 to 10. It's an all-ages show, so bring the whole family and stop by and see us at the News Talk STL Pavilion right near the stage. Frankie Martin's Garden, the place for and about community in Cottleville. Details at frankiemartinsgarden.com.
If you love your pet, which I know you do, then they deserve the excellent treatment and care they'll receive at Pacific Animal Hospital in Pacific, Missouri, a full-service veterinarian facility. Originally built and grown by my dad, Dr. Bill Jones, a new generation of wonderful veterinarians and staff at Pacific continue to provide outstanding medical, surgical, dental, boarding, and grooming services for your favorite furry friends. Our family entrusts the care of our pets only to the experienced docs and staff at Pacific Animal Hospital. You should too. Call them today, 636-257-2100, 24/7 at pacificvets.com, pacificvets.com.
Every 40 seconds, a child disappears. That's 2,000 children every single day. Find the Children is a nonprofit organization fighting to bring them home, but we can't do it without you. Your unwanted car, running or not, can help find missing kids, reunite families, and support the search and rescue efforts that protect children every day. We'll pick it up fast and free with a 24-hour response, and your donation may qualify for a tax deduction. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help locate missing children and educational programs that teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators before it's too late. Together, we can give families hope and bring children home where they belong. Donate your car today and help bring a child home. Find the Children, because every child deserves to come home.
800-757-1340. 800-757-1340. That's 800-757-1340.
This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Team Trump is under pressure from Congress to release details of the U.S.-Iran deal to be signed on Friday in Geneva. The bottom line, according to President Trump, is this: Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. And Mr. Trump describes that as 99.9% of what he sought. The president is venting. He's voicing frustration over Israel's attacks on Iranian-backed Hezbollah in Lebanon.
Now, I'm not happy with the way Israel has handled themselves with Lebanon and with Hezbollah. They should have been able to do the job faster. It just goes on forever. And when that happens, it throws a negative light on the big deal, and that's the deal with Iran.
The president's remarks are generating concern among some backers of Israel, both here in the U.S. and abroad. Mr. Trump says he is delaying the confirmation hearing for Jay Clayton, the president's choice for National Intelligence Director. The hearing put on hold until Clayton's successor as U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York has been confirmed. Primary voting results this morning.
The president's choices have secured the GOP nominations for the U.S. Senate in both Georgia and Oklahoma. Mr. Trump has remained at the center of this year's midterm races. His influence is facing different tests in primaries in 4 states and the District of Columbia.
Correspondent Andrew Stewart says Rick Jackson, who was not endorsed by President Trump, won the Georgia Republican gubernatorial primary. One person is dead following last night's crash of a business jet on a highway in Laredo, Texas. The aircraft burst into flames upon impact. Not clear if the person who died was on the plane or on the ground. Nearby motorists rushed to the burning aircraft. They had hoped to rescue those on board. On Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures are up 17 points. NASDAQ futures 182 points higher. More on these stories, townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Strong to severe thunderstorms possible this evening, but ahead of those storms, it turns hot, humid, and windy. A wind advisory this afternoon, some gusts out of the southwest up to 45 miles per hour. Meanwhile, temperatures spike to around 92 for the high. Let's be prepared for thunderstorms in the metro area from around 7 to 10 p.m. Wind, hail, tornadoes all on the table. And then rain chances wind down quickly overnight as we drop to a low of 69. A spot shower or two around Thursday, much cooler at 79. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Business owners, download your free playbook for financial clarity at SerenityWealthBiz.com. That's SerenityWealthBiz.com.
Hi, Sandy. What's that?
I'm reading up on this Amendment 4 on the August ballot.
What's 4?
Amendment 4 absurdly creates a new un-American minority veto power, but only for ballot issues that we citizens put on the ballot.
Don't they say it'll protect conservative ideas?
Truth gets in the way of their story. Amendment 4 would mean as few as 5% of the most liberal statewide voters in one congressional district could veto any good conservative idea or reform, even when a big majority supports it.
That does sound un-American. How did that get on the ballot?
The politicians put it there, and it would empower a small minority of liberals. They could stop funding for police, stop tax cuts, or any other common sense conservative policy we support.
Only 5%? One district? That would make it nearly impossible to pass needed reforms or rein in politicians.
Yep, Amendment 4 is a misguided power grab by politicians. I'm voting no on Amendment 4.
Right. I'm not giving up my constitutional rights. It's a hard no on 4.
Paid for by Missourians for Fair Governance.
On the next, Larry Connor's USA.
The story behind the story. This date, 1972. Watergate broke.
Larry Connor's USA.
Now, weeknights 6 until 8.
On News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Shut this sucker down.
Susie Moore.
I disagree on his assessment of the situation.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
You're not supposed to lie, but you're definitely not supposed to lie when you're under oath.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, I don't know how capable these accused guys are or were when it comes to this plot to attack the UFC fight card event at the White House over the weekend, but they were apparently very serious about it. Yeah, they were beyond just a bunch of guys on the internet talking about, oh, wouldn't it be cool if? We're talking they had a plan, they had bought arms, they had bought ammo. They apparently not this wasn't exactly a collection of MacGyvers. Okay, no. This was not the A-Team out there. For those of a certain age, you'll get that reference. But it was.
Don't be a fool.
Yeah, that's right. I pity the fool. But this was another plot, and was President Trump specifically targeted? They generically said high-profile targets.
There
they
was
didn't really
congressional
say
targets.
Congressional targets, also among those people who
anyone who took APEC. Right?
Exactly. So you had another anti-Semitic element to this, but then you also had the anti-capitalist kind of stuff too. But and in the news dump here, I've got a soundbite from the vice president talking about when's enough going to be enough on this. Now, one of the accused is a Missourian, turns out, from like far northwest Missouri, Kidding, Missouri, which I think is a little tiny town like way up in the northwest corner of the state. I don't even know if I've ever been there, but it's northwest Missouri.
Not sure, yeah.
So here's the dirty secret that I think a lot of people may may be aware of is that at any given point, it doesn't matter who the president is. It doesn't matter who the Congress critters are. Somebody's plotting to hurt them.
Yes.
There are always threats against them. Now, this one, when you listen to what was described in the plan, you're thinking that's actually logical if you wanted to create what they call a mass casualty event.
Right.
Bring in some drones. I'm sure there was anti-drone technology at anything around the White House, but all you need is something to be a close enough of a threat, and then they start evacuating.
Right.
Then that was the whole point. It wasn't that we're going to get them with the drones.
It was to prompt the evacuation.
Right. Which is simple, but could have been
diabolical.
Yeah, diabolical, but could have been very effective. And so I don't want to blow it out of proportion in that, boy, they got to him just in time. It looks like this was intercepted early enough, and they just announced it after the UFC event at the White House grounds. But you've got, I don't know how big the crowd was there. I don't know how big the lawn is there, but there were a lot of people there.
There was a lot of people there.
Yeah, but something to where certainly somebody could have gotten hurt had this progressed. But no, they didn't catch him at the White House. I don't even think they caught him in D.C. They went and got him at their homes and works and things like that. But apparently there were over 20 people involved, and they've got 5, which appear to be at least most of the ringleaders of this whole thing. So I guess they're still searching for the others.
I guess. I don't know, what the status is of the others involved. But, yeah, I mean, it does seem like this wasn't a plot that got too far along. And obviously they let the event progress.
Right.
So they couldn't have been too worried about it. But it seriously needs to be taken. They have to take it seriously. And it does sound like there were specific plans. This wasn't just, we should cause
I
a
hate
problem.
the government.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a little more advanced than that. So, I mean, I'm glad that they were able to foil the plot. And I'm glad that they are arresting the people involved. And I hope they are fully prosecuted.
Now, here's the thing is that there's most likely a lot of plots that are foiled.
Yeah.
This one, they made it a point to tell us about.
Yes.
I'm curious what's different about this one.
I don't know.
I mean, there's got to be a reason, I guess, other than there's going to be a lot of charges filed, and this is going to be a high profile thing once the news finds out about it. But they're getting out ahead of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it could be flex.
Sure.
Look at what we're able to do.
Yeah.
With an eye towards not only patting themselves on the back, but also towards deterrence of others who aren't particularly sophisticated, but might be thinking, "Hey, I would love to do something like this." Well, guess what? We will bust you.
Okay, let me tap into Jerome's knowledge of the technology. The signal is the thing that's supposed to disappear and be encoded and stuff, right?
Yeah, so it's an encrypted messaging platform, which means that nobody outside of the direct communications would be able to tap into it and spy on it.
They got him. They tapped into it and spied on him.
Well, in theory, that's how it's supposed to work. But that also, I mean, it could be the case that potentially one of these people was an
informant.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they got caught and they turned or something, but they got the signal. They got the signal chat.
Right.
Yeah.
The most logical explanation is what he just said, is that one of the people that was in on the chat,
could have
turned it
over.
Yeah, it could have been undercover. I mean, FBI, there has been some controversy regarding entrapment of specifically inciting these sorts of things to try to draw people out and then get them. But at the same time, it's not uncommon for groups, especially online groups, which is how they were apparently recruiting as multiple states, to potentially have had an undercover FBI agent or somebody of that nature that joined in the group to express that maybe they were sympathetic and then expose all of them and sting them, basically.
I mean, it's similar to what some of the kind of the gonzo journalists are doing. For instance, like Cam Hegby infiltrated the signal chat for the Delaney Hall protesters, and he was just sharing that online last night. So it's a similar concept. I don't think this was a situation where the eye in the sky was like, "Bing, okay, we're dialing in." It's someone.
Because they're looking at we're looking at least 5 states involved as far as where these guys were. Yeah. So it wasn't like this was like a group of college buddies or something like that.
No, this was clearly a group of people that I think that found each other online and shared the sentiment that they needed to go after these people because, Israel, I guess.
Israel. Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, Ohio, California, California again, Missouri, and Nebraska.
Okay.
Yes.
For the 5 that have been convicted.
I can't remember if it was,
or not, or just accused.
Charged.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was Stephen Miller, not the White House Stephen Miller, the one on X, who noted this, but they're like, it's basically 9 years to the day after the congressional ball game shooting.
With Steve Scalise.
And the rhetoric is almost identical to what that guy was.
I would argue the
to.
rhetoric is worse now.
No, the rhetoric in amongst the chat, amongst the people involved here, what their cause was and what they were saying is very, very similar to what the guy that shot up the ball field was saying.
Yeah.
That was the comparison.
Yeah, I gotcha. And media and frankly, I would say the left, but we're seeing this on the right too. They're getting basically explicit endorsement of some of this hatred and some of this. We're seeing it in Missouri. We're seeing arguments among so-called conservatives around here. And it's Israel seems to be the go-to of the hateful ones. I mean, it's just we're seeing a lot of it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I don't think every single one of them is going to go try to hurt somebody, but
no,
it's getting its blessing on some on the fringe woke right as well as the far left.
Absolutely, it is, and I mean, a big part of that is just the online, the way that things are manipulated and the algorithms, and I mean, it just goes to show you have to be very careful what information you're consuming.
Yeah,
and
and maybe
check your sources.
Check your sources. Check your understanding of history. That would be a big one as well.
That would be helpful. Yeah,
that would be a big one as well. And so it's one of these where I'm glad that obviously it didn't get apparently anywhere near actually hurting people, because like you said, they're I think that President Trump, I'm just my read on him is that even if they were concerned about something, he would have found a way to not let a threat stop an event like this, because it was like kind of a marquee event and a big PR event. So they must have been comfortable enough to say, we got enough of this thing, that it's the risk is low. It's always going to be a risk when you've got a large group of people in the White House, but they had enough of a handle on it, because it would have taken something imminent, I think, for President Trump to have allowed that to have been canceled.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he's having them go forward with the White House Correspondents' Dinner next month. Yeah, no, I feel like it's one of those things, when you first started hearing about this event, you're always concerned these days, particularly with everything going on in the world, that there could be some sort of attack. But, I think they felt pretty confident that they had the security pretty well nailed down.
So the UFC event took place on June 14th. According to the official government document on this, they were detected on the 10th. So they,
Yeah.
So I would imagine that
they were probably on the radar way before that.
Oh, yeah. But it looks like that could be why they were allowed to the UFC event to continue, because obviously when you are made aware of that, then you can adjust accordingly and take further security measures afterwards.
Yeah.
So, just another plot, another one. Now, listen, every president's going to be subject to these, but they're just sort of like, I don't know, hyper, supersonic with the current administration, with so many wanting to go to extreme measures to do as much harm as possible. That part that's different, obviously.
It is. Well, talking about technology, another data center project is coming to the region. This one's even bigger than what's proposed in Festus. We've got the details on that at 6:20.
I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all away.
All right, you've heard me talk about Window World before. They're one of only 2 replacement windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval, and they're ranked number 1 in the country for number of windows sold by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They've been doing this for over 20 years. They've been helping to improve the look and the energy efficiency of more than 80,000 homes right here in St. Louis. And the St. Louis location has been owned, operated, and managed by born and raised St. Louisans for more than 23 years. If you've been thinking about new windows, you can call today for a free home estimate at 1-800-GET-WINDOWS. What I like about Window World is the product itself. Their windows are durable, they're secure, they're energy efficient, and they're also built with double-strength glass, which is something you don't typically see in replacement windows. Plus, you're covered with a lifetime warranty, which includes parts, glass, breakage, and labor. That's a pretty big deal. They don't just do windows either. Window World can also help with siding, doors, basically everything on the exterior of your home except a roof or garage door. And here's something a lot of companies don't offer. Their customer service team is available 7 days a week, meaning including weekends. It shows. Over half of their appointments come from repeat customers or referrals, which tells you a lot about their commitment to customer service. Plus, they're also big in the community. They've raised over $4 million over the years for charities like Action for Autism and St. Jude, and they're the preferred window of your St. Louis Blues. Right now, they're offering 36 months same as cash financing with approved credit. So if you've been putting this off, now is a great time to act. Call Window World at 1-800-GET-WINDOWS.
Dr. Michael Lewis, West Point grad, physician, and retired Army colonel, is considered the world's leading expert on the use of omega-3s in brain health. He's also the author of When Brains Collide. Dr. Lewis, a lot of people take fish oil supplements, but how do you know they're working if you're not testing?
Elizabeth, I've come across the biggest breakthrough in my 30-plus years of medicine. What if you could test yourself at home to see if your fish oil supplements are actually working? And then have the right product, a combination of fish oil and olive oil, a perfect Mediterranean diet in a bottle delivered right to your doorstep. This is the answer to the American ultra-processed food diet. Email me at test@brainhealtheducation.org. That's test@brainhealtheducation.org.
Email Dr. Lewis today at test@brainhealtheducation.org and take the first step toward a healthier brain. Your future self will thank you. That's test@brainhealtheducation.org.
Summer is here at Daniel's Farm and Greenhouses on Juggerman in St. Peters. Discover our breathtaking 55,000 square feet of greenhouses featuring 8,000 hanging baskets, hundreds of perennials, and 100,000 pots of colorful annuals. From vegetable plants to premium grass seed, mulch to herbs, our knowledgeable staff is ready to answer all your questions. Start spring off right with pansies, potted tulips, and everything your garden craves. Daniel's Farm and Greenhouses. Visit us today on Juggerman or online at danielsfarmandgreenhouses.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey guys, Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Hope you had enough time to freshen up your coffee, because now we're back with Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, well, Festus and Jeffco residents are debating that $6 billion data center project that's happening right now, Montgomery County. So basically just, in the western part of the NewsTalkSTL listening area, moving ahead with a $10 billion data center project. That was announced yesterday by Amazon, by the governor, and by Montgomery County. They're describing this not just as a data center, but as a data center campus. So there's going to be a lot more to it, apparently, than just the actual processing data center kind of thing. So here's what we've got on this. Amazon's going to put $10 billion into the data center campus, and this is going to be in Montgomery City.
Yep.
So a little bit just outside like Warrenton,
right? That
area. And they're expecting 400 direct permanent jobs, which are probably going to be pretty well-paying jobs.
I would think so.
I would think so. And then obviously the construction of this. And I don't have a timetable on this. Nobody seems to be listing what the timetable is, but they're talking about thousands of construction jobs. And some of the things, because the governor, I'm looking at the governor's statement on this, and then you can also look up Amazon's statement on this, and Montgomery County, Montgomery County I didn't see a press release from their website yesterday, but essentially what the deal comes down to is that Amazon is basically going to work with Ameren, and Amazon as part of whatever this deal is. And what I can't seem to find, and I couldn't get an answer for, is if there are any incentives or breaks or anything like that. That I could not find one way or the other.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that part out. But Amazon is going to pay 100% of their electric bill that they're going to be using, and they are going to pay for the connections to the data center.
Okay.
Because that's one of the things that's always brought up, and I see where the governor's office is trying to get ahead of the criticism, saying you're going to add this thing, it's going to put this massive load, you're going to have to expand the grid, and then all of us are going to get charged for basically paying for the grid that's going to be added to our bills. So they're trying to get out ahead of this. and saying, no, that's not what's going to happen. There are no incentives or discounts on electricity rates for Amazon, according to the statement. Water is also a big aspect of this. So let me just read the statement that the governor put out. The company, meaning Amazon, also working with agricultural technology company Arable Labs to implement technology to help Missouri farmers improve irrigation efficiency, eliminating unnecessary watering, and helping to reduce groundwater withdrawals. The project is expected to reduce water use by 100 million gallons of water. And then they've got a link to the Department of Natural Resources, but it doesn't say specifically anything about their water usage in the data center itself, which which is used for basically cooling, because you got all these computer systems that are in there. And then there are a number of basically donations that they are going to be making to the Montgomery County community. They're going to be putting in $3 million to help them beef up their emergency dispatch services, 911 services, $1 million to help them build a community gathering space at the fairgrounds, and another $3 million in just basic community programs throughout Montgomery County. So there's some trade-off there, which makes me wonder if there isn't some kind of incentive or tax break that's involved, but I just could not find that yesterday. I don't know the answer. Maybe there's not. Maybe that's all just a matter of, hey, just let us build and we'll be good neighbors. I don't know. Amazon's got a lot of locations around Missouri, from warehouses and processing and all that.
Right behind where I live.
Yeah, there's like 10,000 people already work full-time for Amazon in Missouri as it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, part of the difference there may be because this is more rural land.
Yes.
There's, first of all, less like development immediately around it in terms of like neighborhoods, residential, that sort of thing. It is the I-70 corridor. There is a lot of open farmland there. Now, obviously, that's no longer going to be farmland. I think that it's fair to question whether there's any potential, hazards that it could create for the surrounding area. Could this have an effect on livestock? Could this have an effect on groundwater? Could this have, whatever the issues are that people have been legitimately asking about these, they do need to be concerned. So yeah, I mean, unless we're privy to the actual agreement with the municipality or the county, it's a little hard to judge whether this is a good deal or not. But obviously, they're going forward with it.
Yeah, I figured at some point this was going to happen because, for instance, almost everywhere that a data center is being proposed, you look at Lincoln County, you look, obviously, Jefferson County with Festus, and you can look, the debate in the city. You can look over in like Granite City, you can look at Troy, Illinois, and all these areas where there are these big debates over this. At some point, you knew somebody was going to go, oh, you don't want a couple $1 billion of investment? We'll take it.
Thank you very much.
Please come on in. We've got like you said, a rural area. And boy, we could use some roads. We could use some new buses in the school district. We could do that. Bring them in, and we'll take their scraps. And so that's probably going to be a massive boon to Montgomery County. Now, and then you can have people arguing whether the trade-off is good or bad, but it's a rural area, and it's very probably going to be easy for them to be able to put this where nobody is around. No neighborhoods, no business districts,
not in close proximity, right?
Yeah, no schools, nothing like that. Most of the farmland in Missouri, by the way, I don't know if a lot of people realize this. Could you drive through I-70 or I-44 or whatever, and you see all the corn, you see all the beans and all that kind of stuff. That's not going to your grocery store. That's feeding livestock.
Yeah,
that's what most of that farmland is being used for in Missouri, is to feed. And then the soybeans.
Our burgers.
Yeah, that's right. To feed the burgers. That's right.
It's a circle of life.
Yeah, that's right. So that's where a lot of that's going. So, I mean, obviously, hundreds of acres is going to be a reduction in that. But we've also had farmers scale back their livestock lately because of market conditions and droughts and things like that.
Sure.
But still, what you've got here is something that's likely to be permanent and hundreds of jobs, and then the construction jobs are going to be massive for the next, 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah. Now, so, I mean, considering the level of pushback that we've seen in Festus and Jeffco and St. Charles, all around, I don't get the impression that there's been an organized pushback in Montgomery County.
I couldn't find one.
Well, that makes me wonder if the impetus behind some of that pushback just hasn't made its way out to Montgomery County, meaning that there are some groups that are kind of fomenting is maybe a strong word, but they are kind of pushing this advocacy. They may not necessarily, it may not necessarily all be organic.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Is my point. Yeah. I guess they just haven't set their sights on Montgomery County.
Yeah, or they probably saw the press release. They're like, wait, what?
Right. I mean, it would be interesting to hear from people, residents of that area, just to see what their overall take is. But
yeah, I tried to just kind of look around, online out there. I didn't see much of any sort of pushback on that. But that it was going to be a matter of time before somebody goes, oh, like I said earlier, you don't want it? We'll take 400 jobs.
Right. There are trade-offs no matter how you slice it.
You don't want millions of dollars in additional tax revenue? We'll take it.
Yeah.
And again, assuming that there's not some massive tax break in there, but I have a feeling that there's so much pushback against these data centers that the leverage to ask for these tax breaks or incentives isn't as high as with other developments. It's not like you're building a car manufacturer. It's not like GM's coming in to build something here. Because if GM went into Festus and said, "Hey, we want to build, I don't know, whatever cars here, whatever trucks here," there'd probably be a whole lot of people saying, "Make it happen, make it happen." But with the data center, they're reacting differently to it because of the other elements and how those things operate. And so, at some point, there's so much pushback. The data centers are needed with the changing economy. They got to go somewhere. They can go here, they can go in other countries, they can go somewhere. And a lot of leaders would rather have them in the U.S. And so if there's so many areas that don't want them, that's making it harder for companies like Amazon or some of the others to find a place to put them. So if they find some place that's going to greenlight it, they're probably like, you know what, just make it happen. Just maybe we'll actually pay our own way. What a novel thought.
Which is why I think you're going to end up with a whole bunch of them in the Northern Plains.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, hopefully they're prettier than the ugly windmills.
I was going to say, look where the windmills are, and that would be. It's like
turn the windmills into data centers.
Back in the day, back in the day, you would say, "Hey, where can you find a Hardee's? Look for the McDonald's." Mm-hmm. They're right next to each other. There's a reason for that. So yeah, I think you may have like an I-70 or if it happened in Illinois, an I-55, kind of corridor. But you're also talking about the massive data center project just down the road in the Kingdom City area as well. So, maybe there is going to be a corridor of these data center things, which are all just, rural, I say just, but rural farmland right now.
Right. Well, I think that's very much like what we're going to see.
Yeah.
The wave of the future.
But in Montgomery County, they're going to get this, and so they're going to have a lot more money flowing in, and so they might be able to afford a new website, because just say I wasn't real impressed with their county website. Not that WordPress isn't easy, but they could actually afford one now.
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
Guess what today is?
What day would that be?
Bump Day! The day where I beg and plead for all of you to send me your 80s bump music requests for Flashback Friday. Please send me what you want to hear from the 80s. It has to have been charting in the 80s or been popular in the 80s. It needs to be 80s is what I'm getting at here. So send it to me, Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com, and let me know when you listen so you can hear your request.
From the NewsTalkSTL Weather Center.
Strong to severe thunderstorms possible this evening, but ahead of those storms, it turns hot, humid, and windy. A wind advisory this afternoon, some gusts out of the southwest up to 45 miles per hour. Meanwhile, temperatures spike to around 92 for the high. Let's be prepared for thunderstorms in the metro area from around 7 to 10 p.m. Wind, hail, tornadoes, all on the table. And then rain chances wind down quickly overnight as we drop to a low of 69. A spot shower or two around Thursday, much cooler at 79. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Tired of settling for generic fishing gear? Say hello to Bullseye Bait and Tackle, O'Fallon's one-stop shop for serious anglers. Live bait, premium tackle, rods, reels, and an unbeatable selection of lures from top brands like Megabass, Zoom, and Berkley. Whether you're after bass, catfish, crappie, or bluegill, they've got the gear to help you land the big one. Plus, their expert team, led by Mark and Liz, provides rod and reel repair services. Bullseye Bait and Tackle, 266 Fort Zumwalt Square, or at bullseyebaitandtackle.net.
1 in 4 women will have an abortion before the age of 45 in this country. That's the tragedy we must work to stop. Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show here, and that is why Reach Reproductive Health is here, to empower parents to save the lives of innocent children and to see these families come to Christ. And you can be a part of saving and changing lives. So pray and visit outreachforlife.org to learn more, volunteer, and donate. That's outreachforlife.org.
A Disney cruise is no ordinary vacation. It's an adventure, a fairy tale, a dream. Step aboard and discover where favorite Disney characters meet fun for the whole family, where total rest and relaxation meet the ultimate escape and excitement, where a dream vacation meets a magical cruise. Only on Disney Cruise Line, where magic meets the sea.
Magic Expeditions will make planning your Disney cruise easy. Reach out at magicexpeditions.com.
This is what's happening.
If we can keep the economic pressure on, it will break them even further.
I don't want to have boots on the ground.
This president is stepping up to correct the problem that's been going on for 47 years.
101.9 and 94.1.
Number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Hey, Chris Arps from the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
Okay, what are the facts and what do we know about the deal with Iran that's ostensibly going to be ending the war or has ended the war? There's big money involved for Iran, but the White House says it is not U.S. taxpayers' money. Details in just a moment, or what details we have, I guess we should say that. All right, got another round of elections in the books now. What's next in the Middle East, like I just said. Some interesting things happen around America here as well. A lot to keep track of, so keep an eye on RedState.com, obviously. So, Susie, give us some reading suggestions for today, please.
This is the Red State Rundown.
Speaking of America, one of the things we do at Red State is we often feature like guest op-eds. We obviously have a stable of writers that write for us regularly, but we also feature guest op-eds, for instance, from the Heartland Institute. They've got one up this morning. The European mind is beginning to comprehend America, and it's just about that. It's about how all of the tourists who are here enjoying the World Cup festivities are learning about America and how we don't all suck. So it's a great article, actually. It is actually, I really do love this article. Highly recommend it. Definitely give it a check. Check it out. Bob Hogue's got Hillary Clinton channels her inner Captain Obvious, tells us what we already knew about Joe Biden. Yes, Hillary's finally acknowledged that he probably shouldn't have run for re-election in 2024. Mm-hmm. Some would say he shouldn't have run for election in 2020. But in any event, thanks, Hillary. Thanks.
Yeah,
thanks for helping us figure that out.
They actually asked Joe Biden for a comment, and he goes, "When's Matlock on?"
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. Maybe I made
Where's my ice cream?
That's right.
And this one,
ice cream?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Our fellow Missourians may appreciate this one from Sister Told Josh Hawley on the warpath after baseball players targeted and MLB won't like what may be coming next. Yeah, they're catching some real flack over that story we talked about yesterday about the baseball, the logos and the the being able to write scripture on their rainbow.
Right. I see on their
uniforms.
Rainbow. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that article, and Attorney General Catherine Hanaway put out a warning to him as well. And so I'm like, okay, that's an easy red meat one for a lot of conservatives and stuff. I'm like, is it really government's job to worry about the uniforms on the baseball teams? I mean, is that I think there might be a little bit of virtue signaling, with some virtue, without a doubt, but I think there might be some virtue signaling by the Republicans here.
I think there's a lot of it, but there is also the fact that Major League Baseball has that weird entanglement with there's some governmental oversight of it. We see that come up every so often. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember what the whole connection is. It has to do with like the antitrust provisions.
Yeah, because Pro Sports has an exemption with the antitrust that basically allows the league to negotiate all the media stuff and the coverage and the contracts, media contracts for networks and things like that, instead of the teams doing it themselves. So they got an antitrust exemption for that. So yeah, I saw that.
I have the quotes.
Yes.
Okay, this is from Josh's letter.
Yes.
Okay, alone among America's professional sports leagues, baseball enjoys a sweeping, judicially manufactured exemption from the federal antitrust laws, a privilege the Senate Judiciary Committee has examined with bipartisan skepticism in recent years. So there's this there is that entanglement there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure.
So
Is
I
that-
agree that is it the proper role of
Yeah.
government? No, not necessarily, but that is the de facto role that
Right.
there has been there.
Yeah, but I think as much as anything, it's a PR opportunity for some of the politicians.
Well,
you
yeah,
know.
well, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But there's one thing. It's one thing if they're talking about it and there's literally no nexus there. There is actually a nexus there.
Yeah, and you've got. Did you see what was it? Weiner, I guess that state senator out of California, the really weird guy,
Scott Weiner.
Weiner, yeah, Scott Weiner. He put on social media. I'm not making this up. That those baseball players, his word, defaced the Pride logo with Bible verses. Defaced with Bible verses. Those were his words.
This is the guy who is one of the favorites to replace Nancy
Yeah.
Pelosi. Like,
Oh, yeah.
he's in the lead.
And he is. There's radical, there's fringe, and then there's this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you thought Nancy
A
Pelosi is
league of his own.
oh yeah, it's almost like incomprehensible perversion and insanity with this guy. But he may very well win. He may become a Congress critter. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, that actually might not be a bad thing. My view is then he's a small fish in a big pond. And so
Right.
maybe he can't create as much havoc as he's creating in California.
He becomes the white male version of Cory Bush that Republicans raise a lot of money off of every election cycle because you just have to let him open his mouth and let him be himself.
Yep.
Yeah, precisely. All right, it is 6:38 right now. I got to look up here now because my clock is all messed up here.
Oh.
Do you see this clock? Okay, see what time it is right there.
6:38.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look what this clock says.
It's lies.
The clock is lying to me, so it's freaking me out. Anyway, just putting that there. It's like it's one thing to have the wrong hour. That's 12 minutes off, and that's supposed to be like attached to the satellite clock.
Isn't it like a doomsday clock?
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know what's going on with that.
Mm.
It's the aliens. I'm pretty sure
someone's messing with the time warp.
it's got to be the aliens.
The space-time continuum.
Yeah, totally. Here. Okay, so Iran, the deal with Iran, and what's we've kind of talked off the air about is I think a lot of people had the kind of ho-hum, okay, yeah, we're bombing stuff in Iran, and everybody had an opinion, but it wasn't really what was dominating anybody's conversation. Okay, so now the president says war's over. Iran is not going to have a new nuclear weapon. We're having a deal. The vice president says that Iran can get a lot of money. Iran says, yeah, we're going to get assets unfrozen and we're going to get paid. The president says any talk of what was it, $300 billion going to Iran, that's fake news, and none of it is U.S. taxpayers' money, but somehow money is in the picture, in the conversation. What do we know so far about that? Because there's all kinds of different people making all kinds of different claims.
We know nothing.
We can confirm that.
We know nothing. We know what this group is referring to.
Yeah.
We know what they're saying it is. Reports say, oh, there's a supposed leak, blah, 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 blah. No, I call BS on all of it until I see the actual document and agreement.
Which we thought we were going to get yesterday or today, and so far we don't really see it.
Well, it's only 6:40 in the morning.
Right. Well, according to that, it's 6:51 in the morning.
All
But
right.
yeah, 6:40 is the real time. But yeah, so there's all kinds of spin already happening. And again, this morning I'm looking like, okay, let me see at least the bullet points or the summary. I'm like, no, I can't find one. I can see a lot of people's opinion on it, but I can't see the actual thing yet.
And I am warning folks, do not go down that rabbit hole. It's far too tempting. The New York Post ran with one. I mean, everybody's telling you what they think is in it. And much of that may be right.
I mean, who knows? Yeah.
Right. But look at the actual deal once it is released. That's just, I don't know. I don't know how else to emphasize that.
I got to say, though, some of these memes that are coming out about this are just top notch. So there's a post from this morning saying that Greenland has changed its position, hoping the U.S. does invade so that they can also get a deal like what's being proposed for Iran. I don't know. I do see a bit of a rift growing as well over just the concept of how things are being handled in general.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of the naysayers right now are saying that we basically lost. This is a concession. So I guess should we feel good about the fact that we finally have a deal?
We should feel agnostic.
Agnostic.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. We don't know what's in the deal till we see the deal.
Yeah, you mentioned that before we went on the air. Like a lot of people are, I guess, on the internet are saying, well, that means we lost. Well, I don't know. Again, I'm with you, Susie. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, if it could very well be that, the White House and the Republicans are going, we have midterms coming around here, and we really need to get, attention off to something else. Just end the darn thing. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a big win for the U.S. and it's another one of Donald Trump's deals. And maybe it was something that they went into and went, crap, this is harder than we thought and more expensive than we thought. We need to get out of here. And, of course, President Trump's been kind of laser focused just on the nuclear aspect of it. And that
was the primary purpose for it.
Yeah. And but it definitely went on longer and longer and longer and longer, I think, than any of them anticipated.
Yes, I would say that. I think that they thought it was going to be wrapped up a little quicker than it has been, but that's because you're dealing with Iran.
Yep.
Yeah,
the Middle East in general.
I refuse. I mean, I've literally had to call people off covering the reports of what's in it. I'm like, no, we are not reporting on what's in the deal until we get it straight from the horse's mouth, the actual document, and then report on it, opine on it, whatever. But I have seen way too many people being pulled into this direction or that direction over what they think is in it, and then that's not what ends up happening. So,
but we need clicks.
Yeah. Tell me about it. I mean,
I
that's like
know.
my job is to get clicks, but I'm not going to let my people do that.
Yeah, Bloomberg is claiming that they somehow managed to get a leaked version.
Because of course they did.
Yeah, and now that's being scrutinized as well. That it may not have even been the actual, currently accepted draft of whatever was being talked about. It is interesting, though, that J.D. Vance and former General Jack Keane are both confirming, or at least claiming, that a $300 billion reconstruction deal is going to be a part of this entire thing. Just
get me the exact quote.
I don't have enough time.
I know. Well, because I know what you're talking about. What J.D. Vance has confirmed is that there is a reconstruction fund that Gulf states can contribute to. That if Iran jumps through all the hoops, they can start investing in Iran. But everyone's talking about the U.S. is giving Iran $300 billion. No.
So they would come up with the money, and we would be the gatekeepers to say you can
invest or you can't invest, because right now they can't invest in Iran.
And then I think $24 billion is going to be unfrozen. I believe President Trump was one that actually confirmed that was on the table as well right now.
If they jump through all of the hoops, these are their assets that can be unfrozen if they jump through. But again, wait till you see what's in the deal. Don't even trust President Trump, because he speaks off the cuff sometimes and sometimes don't quite get it all right.
So we just can't trust nothing?
No.
The document. Yeah. The document speaks for itself. That's some legalese there.
And then we definitely know Iran's going to uphold every part of their end of the bargain. Oh, wait.
Okay, Pollyanna.
I've got a bridge for sale, Mike.
Right.
Yeah.
In Arizona? In New Mexico?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, beachside property.
That's right. Beachside property in Nebraska. That's what I want. Jeez.
Could happen.
Yeah. So basically, one way or the other, we're seeing a retraction of the whole situation on there.
$3.39 gas today.
Oh, that's good. I got
down 10 cents.
Actually, I'm getting close to where I need to fill up some gas today.
Well, you know where to go.
That's good.
$3.39.
Right over there on Dorset again?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Both of the stations.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, we've been talking about these a lot, but there is a massive data center project coming to our region. We've got those details in the news dump at 6:50.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Are you confident that Iran is going to give up its nuclear ambitions?
Unless you were homeschooled by a day drinker, no one's confident that Iran's going to do anything.
On News Talk STL.
And then the media.
1019 and 94.1.
They lying about what's going on in America. They lying about it.
News Talk STL.
42% of Missouri fourth graders can barely read. 42%. It's the worst result in 20 years. If kids can't read by third grade, they fall behind in school, and many never catch up. But other states have provided a roadmap for success. Missouri needs one universal reading test for all third graders and one clear statewide standard for what it means to pass that test. A struggling reader who still can't read after extra help and a second chance at the test should repeat third grade with some exemptions. We also need to end the outdated 3Qing method, which encourages guessing instead of reading, and require teachers to be trained in the science of reading. In Mississippi and Indiana, test scores jumped up dramatically after these reforms, and Missouri can do the same. Missouri children deserve to become confident, capable readers, and strong early literacy reforms can make it happen. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by the Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-478-6430 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-478-6430. That's 800-478-6430. What do you have to lose? Call 800-478-6430. Again, 800-478-6430.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy, Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, another data center project coming to the region. This one's bigger than the other ones we've talked about in the past.
New and improved.
New and improved. A lot bigger one here. And a Missourian is among those charged in connection with a plot to attack that UFC event at the White House. Redbirds still on a roll. It is, oh, wait, can't look at that clock. It is 6:48. I'm looking at the other clock right now. Let's go ahead and do a news dump here.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by Whistle Pig Outdoors.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
A $10 billion data center project is coming to the NewsTalk-STL area. Governor Mike Kehoe and Montgomery County officials made that announcement on Tuesday. The Amazon project is expected to create about 400 permanent jobs and over 1,000 construction jobs while being built. The governor's office says Amazon is going to pay for both its electric and water usage and for the connections needed for those utilities. The company is committed to $7 million in donations to the community, including $3 million to support emergency dispatch services in Montgomery County. What I'm still looking to confirm is if there are any incentives or breaks or abatements involved in the deal, and I just haven't been able to confirm that one way or the other. Maybe Amazon's just paying their way. Maybe there's corporate welfare involved. I can't confirm one way or the other on that because there's always more questions that need to be involved, but it appears that there's nowhere near the controversy in Montgomery County that there is, as opposed to like what's in Jeffco and what's in like Lincoln County.
Not yet.
Yeah. Well, and
it could be coming.
If they decide to,
It's too late, though.
I was gonna say they're gonna show up a little bit late and go, yeah, well, deal's done.
Day late, dollar sharp.
Yep. All right. The FBI arresting 5 people in connection with an alleged drone terror attack planned for the America 250 UFC event at the White House this past weekend. On Fox and Friends, Vice President J.D. Vance calling for a de-escalation in political rhetoric in response, obviously, to that attack, which was thwarted.
This is very, very dark stuff. And unfortunately, we're talking about this a little bit off camera, but this is what happens when people turn the rhetoric up so loud that disagreeing with somebody is a cause for violence. That's the place that we've come to, unfortunately, with too much of our political rhetoric. We got to tell everybody to tone it down.
So officials involved say that the plan included drones equipped with explosive devices designed to cause a mass evacuation. And then that is when they were planning to use snipers to try to hit specific targets, but also cause a mass casualty event. And among the 5 suspects is a 32-year-old man from Northwest Missouri. Daniel Eskridge is accused of coordinating the plan.
Sound like great fellas.
Yeah, and here somebody looked it up on our Rumble chat, and Kidding, Missouri, which is where he's from, is something like 200 people, or 250 people.
That's smaller than Dearborn.
It's very, very small, and it's very rural, and you're not going to do anything without somebody knowing what you're up to in a little town like that. You do not need high surveillance intel in towns like that. Everybody just
the grapevine is
knows.
Extraordinarily effective.
Yes. Believe me, I lived in one when I was in high school. I couldn't get away with crap.
Mm-mm.
All right. President Trump is denying that the U.S. government is going to has a fund with $30 billion set aside for Iran's reconstruction. That's people are saying is part of the White House's deal to end the war. We don't know that that's the case. Now, this comes after Vice President Vance said Iran should or could have access to it. Senate Majority Leader John Thune was on Fox's special report, and he says the law requires Congress to review any agreement, promising that Republicans are going to trust but verify, in his take.
And it doesn't require that we vote on it, but I do believe there are going to be some hard questions that get asked, and a lot of it will revolve around what are the financial incentives here and what are they conditioned upon. And I think those are, at least at this point, we're seeing some anecdotal stuff out there, but we need to see the hard facts.
So both sides are going to sign a deal that's scheduled in Switzerland on Friday. President Trump saying Monday that the fund is for companies, not Iran's government, but he did say Tuesday that there could be U.S. investment in Iran. But what I don't know is if that's the government or whether that's allowing private sector.
That's allowing. My
Right.
understanding, again, is
Yeah.
that is allowing investment from others, not that the government is funneling money.
Right. And it's basically not speculation. It's trying to say, hey, guys, don't speculate because we don't know at this point. But we
Wait.
know there's a lot of money involved in the
Going to know
conversations.
sometime pretty darn soon.
I want to know now. All right. No new apartments, at least no new ones for at least a year. That is a proposal by two O'Fallon City Council members on the Missouri side. Fox 2 is reporting that Amanda Taylor and Doug Link are suggesting a one-year ban on approving any new apartment development in the city. And at this point, there's no formal vote on the idea that's already scheduled, but a similar proposal is being discussed by the St. Charles County government as well, which is, I think, a direct result of the campaign for executive and the candidates in that.
Yeah, I'd say so. Those darn apartment dwellers.
You got to watch those people.
I know.
First, they're just troublemakers, and then they're like writing stuff on the internet, and then
Yeah.
you got to worry about them. Just saying.
They're asking tough questions.
Yes. All right. So there's a new trend apparently on social media.
Uh-oh.
That's where all the good ideas come from, as we know. How to make your hot dogs blue.
What?
Why?
No.
So the not so complicated way to do that is to boil them in Gatorade.
Again, why?
No.
Yeah, that question was never answered is why. So The Takeout, which is a food blog, it's a food review website and culinary thing. They decided to test the fad, and they say, yeah, it works. It works. Though opinions of the taste of the blue hot dogs vary, shall we say?
I think if boiled in Gatorade, it's going to absorb a lot of the Gatorade flavor, which is going to be kind of weird. But you had a blue dog then.
That's right. Blue dog, yeah. You cannot just soak the dogs in water then grill them. That doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
You have to boil the hot dogs in the Gatorade. Not a little bit of Gatorade, but like pour out a whole thing of Gatorade and boil them in the Gatorade to get them to absorb that. And then you can gross everybody else unless you're a 4-year-old boy.
I mean, I don't understand. Like, what? Why?
Somebody at some point said, I'm bored. I have an idea. Let's try this.
What does this achieve?
Oh, that's a darn good question.
Like what? I just don't.
Well, first of all, boiled hot dogs suck.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's just
acknowledge
that is not a controversial statement. That's just, I think,
Right.
scientific fact.
Right. Just like you should not put ketchup on your hot dogs. That's
No,
also scientific fact.
I'm gonna take issue with that.
No,
one.
no, no. That's scientific fact. Too.
I'm
The
a-
science
I'm
is
a-
settled, Mike. I'm sorry.
I'm a ketchup.
The science is settled.
Ketchup and relish.
No.
No.
And yeah,
Mustard and relish.
Yes.
But yeah, boiling it to begin with is very like wah, wah.
Yeah.
So and then you're boiling. No, I reject this.
Yeah.
I denounce this.
And apparently, the thing is blue hot dogs because you can do the blue Gatorade, but you can do other colors of hot dogs as well, just based on your Gatorade.
Yellow,
orange, red.
I mean, they're
There's like
already
that,
pinkish
there's
red,
that
but
purplish thing in there that one colored like the purplish something ice flavor.
Yeah.
Don't they already just sell blue food coloring?
Well, that's all that's absorbing into them.
So why do you need
the
to
food
do
coloring?
the Gatorade? Why not just buy the blue to begin with and not ruin a hot dog?
Yeah,
there are so many questions that I need answered here.
I think we need a congressional hearing.
Probably, yes. All right, the Cardinals win the second game of their series against the Padres last night. The final score Busch Stadium was 3-2. Andre Palante picked up his 8th win of the season after pitching 7 full innings. Cardinals, they only gave up like 4 hits, I think it was, which means they've only given up 5 or 6 hits in their last 2 games.
Yeah. Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I'm a little like, every time I see, like, I get an announcement, Cardinals won, I'm like again?
Yeah.
Again?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Birds are going to try for the sweep this afternoon. Game time is at 1:15. Kyle Leahy going to be on the mound. The Cardinals are now just 4.5 games behind the Brewers in the Central Division, second place in the Central. They are outperforming what like all of the so-called experts and the non-experts like me thought so far this season.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you will be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
This is Kurt Barr, Director of Elections for St. Charles County, reminding you that your vote counts. In a Missouri primary election, one of the first things you'll do is choose which party's ballot you want. You can request the Democratic, Libertarian, or Republican ballot, or, if you prefer, a nonpartisan issue-only ballot without any candidates. You do not have to be registered to a party to select their ballot, but you can only vote in one party's election in August. For election information, visit sccmo.org/elections.
Lower your car payment today. Lower your car payment today. Yes, you heard us right. You can lower your car payment right now by making this free call and save up to $1,400 a year on your current car payments. Think about your current car payment right now. What's that costing you per year? Now think about what it would be like to put an extra $1,400 back in your pocket. That's the average savings our customers experience. We can help you drive the same car and pay less every month by lowering your car payment's interest rate to as low as 4.67%. At Rate Genius, we can work with you to refinance any car payment. If you qualify, it costs you nothing to find out how you can lower your car payment. To learn more, call this number right now.
800-493-5670. 800-493-5670. 800-493-5670. That's 800-493-5670.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. We are learning more about the U.S.-Iran deal ahead of its signing on Friday. Under the agreement, Iran will immediately take steps to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, and it will be allowed to sell its oil without restrictions. That, according to leaked copies of the interim agreement, and officials say broadly matches the actual document itself. And while the deal will boost the global economy, this will not happen overnight.
Oil won't simply start flowing through the Strait of Hormuz the way it did before the war. Then the strait carried a fifth of the world's crude. Now it will take time for hundreds of vessels trapped in the Persian Gulf to exit through the narrow strait. In addition, Gulf oil producers that reduced production will need time to get oil moving again.
Still, correspondent Andrew Seward says that oil prices are already falling. Brent crude is now below $80 per barrel. President Trump hits the pause button.
President Donald Trump says he's holding off on Jay Clayton's nomination to head the National Intelligence Agency. Clayton had been scheduled to appear Wednesday for a Senate confirmation hearing. In a social media post, Trump says he'll keep acting director Bill Pulte right now as he works on getting Congress to pass a voter ID bill that would require people to show ID in order to vote. That bill lacks enough support for passage in either chamber, but lawmakers in both parties said Pulte lacks experience. Democrats Democrats had said they wouldn't renew an expired surveillance program until Trump withdrew Pulte's nomination. Now Trump is accusing Democrats of going back on their word. Donna Horter, Washington.
Robert White Jr. has won the Democratic primary for the District of Columbia's delegate seat in Congress. 18-term Representative Eleanor Holmes Norton is retiring. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures down 18 points. NASDAQ futures are up 151 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Strong to severe thunderstorms possible this evening, but ahead of those storms, it turns hot, humid, and windy. A wind advisory this afternoon, some gusts out of the southwest up to 45 miles per hour. Meanwhile, temperatures spike to around 92 for the high. Let's be prepared for thunderstorms in the metro area from around 7 to 10 p.m. Wind, hail, tornadoes all on the table. And then rain chances wind down quickly overnight as we drop to a low of 69. A spot shower or two around Thursday, much cooler at 79. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Window World of St. Louis. For replacement windows, doors, and siding, call 800-GET-WINDOWS. That's 800-GET-WINDOWS.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Mike Ferguson.
Where's that private pile? Sir, jelly donut, sir. A jelly donut?
Susie Moore.
Mama don't like tattletales.
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, one of the fastest growing areas of the metro, obviously Jefferson County.
Yeah.
Yep. St. Charles County has had a population growth for years now. They're trying to figure out, I think, how to throttle it almost. And then Jefferson County is just kind of a go-to place. I mean, people leave in St. Louis County, people leave in the city. And come November, voters are going to decide who's going to lead Jefferson County in that area into the next phase of whatever the growth is going to be and whatever Jefferson County is going to look like. And Tim Whitney wants to be that person. So he is running for county executive, and he joins us right now. And Tim, good to chat with you. Appreciate you being on the program here. Let me start with that basic premise. Jefferson County, a lot of demand for people wanting to move to Jefferson County. We're talking businesses, we're talking, families, we're talking retirees. There's just a demand to get out of some other areas and get into areas like yours and like Lincoln County and like St. Charles County. So when you look at whatever the next phase is, whether it's planning or whether it's just planning for the economy, whatever it is, what is it that Jefferson County needs to be prioritizing to either deal with the growth or manage the growth? What's the big picture for you?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about Jefferson County being primed for additional growth. And I think the next decade in our county is really going to be shaped by what we do in the next few years. Simply put, people do want to move to our community. It's a great place. I'm very bullish on its future. I love the community, which is why I'm running for office. But I think the single biggest issue we have right now is navigating that growth versus no growth. And I think what the people really want is our community to grow. They want to see our economy grow. They want to see opportunities to live and work here grow. But at the same time, they want us to preserve that natural beauty of Jefferson County. They want us to preserve that rural character, and they don't want us to grow in such a way that, we outkick our coverage or we outgrow our infrastructure and have those additional growing pains. So it's going to be an incredibly tough thing to do for the next few years to get it right. But to your point, last night I was out meeting with some different people, putting out campaign signs as we do this time of year, and I met a farmer out in Hillsboro who's owned his farm for 200 years who, really wanted to make sure that we preserve the agricultural community in our county. And a little bit later, I was on the east side of the county in the Interstate 55 corridor, and I met a business owner who was really bullish on the need to grow our business community here. So navigating that's going to be tough, but I think we're going to be in a great position, and with the right leadership, we'll be in good shape to do it.
Good morning, Tim. This is Susie Moore. Along those lines, I think one of the big questions is kind of a chicken egg question. How do you prepare for the growth, from an infrastructure standpoint, from a business investment standpoint, but not get out in front of it? What do you find are the best resources in terms of assessing, which direction we need to grow and how we need to strike that balance?
The county did a really good job the last few years, and they redid the master plan. And that master plan kind of gives, a rough blueprint for how the county should grow. And the community had some input in that, and there were some committees put together on it. So we have that rough blueprint that's there already. But I think if I had one observation on some things our county could do right in terms of this is we tend to be reactive to how we do things, right? The development comes, and then we recognize that we need to reinvest in that infrastructure. Most of the time, county roadways are the most visible part to that. And then you're trying to redevelop those, which creates significant growing pain. So I think we need to look at that master plan, do a better job of being proactive and understanding where these things are going to happen, and maybe start investing on the front end because, again, the growing pains in the back end are tremendous sometimes. So it's kind of a pay now or pay later proposition, and I always think it's better to pay now.
And so you're talking specifically, just so I'm clear, Tim, you're talking about the infrastructure, the roads, saying, okay, there's likely going to be a development here. We better get some pipes. We better get some lines or something. You're talking about that kind of pay now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And at the same time, we have, our fire and EMS services, our local districts, so they're not controlled by county government, but having those conversations with those districts as well so that our public safety infrastructure is in place and they understand the places where we're most likely to see growth or where there is conversations of future growth. So it's bigger than just roadways. It really does go into your water districts, working with your partners in public safety and all those things because, again, being reactive sometimes creates larger pains than we were proactive.
You kind of anticipated my next question, and that is the public safety aspect of this. Law enforcement obviously is a integral part of any community's growth and how to make sure that you have a community that everyone wants to be part of. How do you find how do you all partner with law enforcement, or how do you envision partnering with law enforcement to help that on the public safety front? Because when you have an influx of population, sometimes you bring an influx of crime.
Yeah, and Tim might have some thoughts on.
I know. I figured he might.
Might have some thoughts on law enforcement in particular.
Yeah, and so to that point, I've been with the sheriff's office for 24 years. My current role is I'm the undersheriff and chief financial officer. So law enforcement is near and dear to my heart, and I believe that the community is the basic foundation of a community. Really is public safety, and it is understanding what those needs are going to be. With an increased population comes an increased need for services, and making sure that, the sheriff's office, which is the primary law enforcement agency in our county, and I say that from the perspective that, we serve roughly 93% of the land area and a little over 70% of the population right now, and understanding that the municipal partners, whether it's the city of Arnold, city of Festus, city of Burns Mill, they're going to have their own growth within, their police departments. But certainly we have to have an understanding and have preparation for, as the population increases, so too will our demand for those services. So how do we continue to make sure that's funded? How do we continue to make sure that we have the resources in place to make them successful?
Okay, I've got another quick follow-up question on the development part of this. Are there types of industries and businesses that you think Jefferson County should target, or just look for whatever the market brings? And then conversely, are there types of growth that you would not want to see in Jefferson County?
Yeah, I think you have to have an open mind. I think you do yourself a disservice if you get into the absolutes or always or never to certain industries. But if you look at the population of Jefferson County today, about 25% of our population is under 21. And for our community to really be successful in the future, we want to capture that population to where they want to stay here. And a big part of that is having the jobs that they want. And so I think we have to be forward thinking. I don't know that there's a specific industry we can say we're going to target and it's going to allow us to meet that goal, because as we've seen in the last few years, I mean, it's moved considerably. I mean, this time last year, we were hardly talking about data centers in our community. And now you see it's been brought to the forefront of those conversations. So something else could be here in another few years. So I don't want to say that we need a specific industry or we don't need a specific industry. We have to be open to it all, but we have to be really mindful of what is it going to take to keep that young population here in our community.
You were reading my mind this morning, Tim, because that was where my next question was going to go, was the data centers.
Funny you should mention
Funny you should mention that, because that is obviously a hot button issue. There's a lot of passion and energy around that whole discussion. And, obviously local leaders are having to kind of navigate their way through a very difficult, heated discussion over it. What do you envision as the way to strike the balance there, where you're, wanting to encourage the technological advances, the investment in the community, but assuage people's concerns about potential safety, pollution, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think without a doubt, it is an emotionally charged issue. Whether you're for or against them, it tends to be very emotion-based. Some of the numbers I've seen down here, it's about 50% one way or the other on the issue. And then when I'm out meeting people, it's about 50% one way or on the other issue. So we really need to strike that balance. I don't think that we should take a position of always yes to data centers and always no to data centers. I think the reality, as always, is somewhere in between that, right? I think there are times when, data centers or similar industry could be a fit for a part of the community. And I think there's times that absolutely will not be a fit for the community. So we have to be open-minded to it. But I think the first step to all of it is making sure we're communicating, right? It all comes down to communication. When people feel there are surprises or they feel that, they were led a different direction, that creates mistrust. So I don't believe that the answer to it is in either of the, absolutes of yes or always no. It's really finding that balance in between, which, as you can see, in an emotionally charged issue, is tough to do sometimes. We're
visiting with Tim Whitney. He's running for county executive in Jefferson County. Tim, I've just got a minute or so left. So then how do you find that? Because, if you got a 50-50 split, that's the worst place that an elected official can be, knowing that you're running the risk of, ticking off half of your community, even if you think you're doing the right thing. So what would be the right parameters that you would want to communicate, or what would be the right parameters to say this is at least worth looking at without committing to whether you want to do it or not? But what are some of the parameters that would have to be in place? Because this is, like Susie said, this is what's there right now. This is where the debate is right now. What would you want to see from a proposed data center project, in anywhere in Jefferson County?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's leadership, right? You talked about the 50-50 split and that being the toughest thing, and, either way you're upsetting people. But I think that's leadership. I think good leaders recognize that and they work through it. But specific to your point about what it would take, the county's done a great job of putting together some ordinances that do protect our community, right? From an environmental standpoint, from a zoning standpoint, everything from standoffs, all those things that need to happen. So I think at the end of the day, what we need to do is follow the ordinances that we have in place that do protect the community, and at the same time really listen to the community, because if there is a location or there is an area where there is a proposal for one, we really need to evaluate, where that is. Is that in an industrial corridor or is that in a more residential corridor? The public is going to tend to be more acceptable and, ready to champion a project like that if it's in an industrial corridor. So that's got to be kind of the starter, but it all comes down to communication, how we communicate with the community.
All right, Tim Whitney, running for county executive in Jeffco. Appreciate the time. What's the website? What's the social media people want to check you out?
Yeah, obviously I'm on Facebook. It's whitney4executive.com. And, you follow us there, and we'll keep everything updated.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, thanks.
All right, a Missouri man is among those accused of being part of the plan to attack the UFC event at the White House. We've got the details on that coming up at 7:20.
Don't try to make me stop, no inspiration. You have a soul so dark, it is no more.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I like it, but they're going a little overboard with the dancing.
On News Talk STL.
Stop right now. I have had enough of this.
All right, we were talking about using farmland to feed livestock, which means for me, feeding our burgers, because I'm a burger fanatic, and I have the place for you if you are a burger fanatic too. It's Harpo's Chesterfield. It's got great food and great fun from the heart of West County for over 20 years. They're the perfect neighborhood bar. They're close. They're convenient. It's got a great sports bar atmosphere. In fact, last Friday, you could have hung out with the crew at Harpo's Chesterfield and enjoyed watching the World Cup game. You can do that again this Friday, I bet. They've got a little, tiger on there with the flag. They're ready to have you there for your big sporting events and with great drink and food specials. As I mentioned, they've got great food, including the burgers, but not just the burgers. They've got great daily food specials and drink specials. So if you don't have lunch plans yet today, definitely give Harpo's some consideration. You can check out their Facebook and their Instagram pages, Harpo's Chesterfield. They'll let you know what events they have coming up. They've got a friendly, energetic staff. They deliver fun food and drinks like no one else. Whether you're dining in or carrying out, make Harpo's Chesterfield your go-to. You can visit harposstl.com to check out their daily specials or check out Harpo's Chesterfield on Facebook or Insta.
Colombo and Company.
Trump's peace deal reportedly not just getting pushback from the left, but also from high-ranking members in his own party. We'll break down the latest Wednesday, plus Missouri political insider Rodney Boyd and closest cabinet.
Live and local, weekdays at 2
on News Talk STL.
When you count on Connor, you're getting the timeless American values that have guided our company from day one. Hard work, impeccable service, and honesty. At Connor Roofing, you aren't just getting a roof, you're getting safeguarded by a neighbor who cares. When you count on Connor, you're receiving protection for your home, your family, and your peace of mind.
Visit ConnorRoofing.com.
Cards fans ready to dress for the occasion? Well, Friday, June 26th, as the Cardinals take on the Miami Marlins, you'll get a brand new all-over Prince shirt. But that's just the start. You'll also get the matching shorts, too. It's not just a shirt, but a full summer set that brings a tropical twist to game night and makes waves in the stands. Available in medium and XL while supplies last. More details and tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
The weekend starts here. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Loop with $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at Cardinals.com.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Freedom of speech is one of the anchors of our society.
News Talk STL.
Good morning, St. Louis. Hey, it's Vince from The Vince Show right here on News Talk STL every weeknight at 8. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Quick note. We've talked a lot about our video stream. Of course, I mean, obviously at 94.1 and 101.9 and the News Talk STL app, which is free that you can take anywhere. Rumble and YouTube, because we actually had a little bump in people. We don't talk about YouTube a lot just because YouTube hates us. Because they keep throwing us off because we're conservative and free market and whatever. But if Rumble in particular on your smart TV, there's a Rumble app on that you can get for any of your smart TVs. So we could actually be your morning show, regardless of where you are. So look up Rumble. Then you don't need an account on Rumble. Just type in News Talk STL, and then you can check out all of our shows for free. On, I guess, Rumble. Yeah, Rumble, you don't need an account to now you'd have to have an account if you want to get in the chat box, but you could just go right to Rumble and put in News Talk STL, and you can watch from there. You could do that with YouTube, I guess, as well.
You got options.
Yeah, you got them in. So just you can put that on there, and I've got Rumble on my TV, as well. There's all kinds of stuff that's streaming on there. So just to let you know, that is an option. Of course, the News Talk STL app is real easy as well. Okay, a Missourian is among those accused and now charged in connection with the plot to attack the White House UFC event. I kind of struggled with this. I'm not going to lie, guys. I kind of struggled like, okay, how much attention do we give this? Because I don't want to put the spotlight on people who are trying to do harm and risk, the copycats or glorifying. We're not glorifying. These were at least 5 people. Now, I've read reports from the DOJ and others who say they think there was upwards of maybe 23 people involved, but 5 people who appear to be kind of the ringleaders online have been rounded up. They've been arrested. They've been charged. And I think there's a point to why the Department of Justice is going public and nationally saying, by the way, there was a plot to hurt and kill a lot of people at the White House. And we stopped that before it got to that point. It doesn't look like any of them made it to Washington, D.C., but they were serious about hurting people. They were serious about killing people.
Yeah, this wasn't just, idle talk. It was a plan that they were putting together. So, I mean, I'm glad that they were stopped in their tracks.
Well, there's also the fact of how organized it was. They were specifically figuring out the logistics of where to go. They actually had what they were considering teams of people with specific roles, and
they did some training. At least one of them went down to Mexico in the desert, and they were doing some training and practice.
And so, if they're suspecting, if DOJ is suspecting that there are upwards of 20 people, and we only have 5 charged, that's still 15 people that were involved in this. Who knows what they're up to right now?
Yeah, and I also thought it was interesting that they essentially said, here was their plan.
Yeah.
Basically put something explosive on one or more drones, fly it in or at or near the UFC event, cause an evacuation, and then as people are being funneled out through security checkpoints and that sort of thing, then you can target whoever you want to target, and if you can't find them, then you can just start picking people at random.
Right.
And that was the plan.
Sinister.
I mean, Kash Patel, the DOJ, they have all said this is what they wanted to do. Everything at the White House, everything with top political leadership, regardless of who's in office, is the subject of plots at any given time.
Yes.
There's always somebody wanting to hurt. Now, it's ramped up a lot in the past several years. So it's more intense now, but this is nothing new. But there was something that stood out about this one that Kash Patel and Todd Blanche and all of the others, J.D. Vance, Vice President J.D. Vance, decided that they said, we're going to let everybody know about this. And the press release they put out has the photos of, for instance, the firearms and the ammunition and the everything that they were buying, and snapshots of some of their online chats and their discussions, basically making it clear these guys were serious about it. They may not have been capable of executing it. We don't know, but they were taking the steps, and they were arrested, not even a week before the UFC event itself.
Just a few days before. Yeah. And they've been planning that since early May. So there was weeks of them actively trying to recruit, and also taking the time to figure out what they would all need to gather and where they're going to rendezvous at.
Yeah, and you can question, okay, was it wise to put out those specifics? Are you giving other people ideas? Possibly, but I think one of the goals of this is, well, again, first of all, to say, look, we're doing our job. We know what we're doing. We're capable. But not just for public approval, but so that other people out there who may be having these kind of half-baked ideas go, oh, those people were all doing this on a Signal chat, and they had a pretty good plan, and they busted it.
Right.
So maybe we should rethink and not maybe do this.
Yeah, deterrence.
Exactly.
Without a doubt. And then,
Well, I was just going to add on to that. And I mean, Kash Patel, among others within the administration, have been very clear that they are tackling what's called nihilistic violent extremism.
Okay, explain what that is.
It is the idea of causing as much harm and damage and mayhem without a devoted political or religious ideology as possible. So it's harm for harm's sake, and there are online groups where people, for whatever reason, they decide that they want to gravitate and try to organize and conduct things like this. And Kash Patel said, no, we're paying attention to this. We're cracking down on it.
I mean, but there was some ideological bent to this as well.
This one was,
yeah.
Yeah, but in general, these sorts of things are still being busted all over the nation right now. And I think this is a good way of reminding these groups, you're not going to fly under our radar. We're paying very close attention to this sort of thing.
Well, and the other thing it highlights is just the fact that there's this sort of sickness. There's this sort of spiritual sickness that is pervasive, and it actually grows and reinforces itself online in these online groups. And not that, I mean, I'm all about freedom, but freedom has responsibility with it too. And that means not, making murder plots and assassination plots and that sort of thing. I think it's, unfortunately, there's been this huge growth of that sort of attitude of we're either going to make a political statement or some sort of ideological statement, or we're just going to mess stuff up for the heck of messing stuff up because we feel like it.
Yeah, and whether it's political activism, when it crosses into violence, that's actually a definition of terrorism. I mean, nothing new. You can go back to, the Weather Underground. I mean, you can go back to, literally the Klan. You can go back to all these organizations that used violence as a means of political or social or religious activism. That is what terrorism actually is. And I think almost honestly, we've cheapened the word terrorism because anybody you don't like is terrorism. You said something. Well, that's verbal terrorism. That's no such thing. Unless the threat of violence is involved here. And in this particular case, we're getting, digging through their chats and some of their, I guess, presence online. And there was the whole anti-capitalist kind of thing, which we've seen over the years, whether it was Antifa or Occupy or any of those. But then there's always then it comes back to the usual things. Well, they were friendly with Israel. They took money from AIPAC. And so basically you've got that ugly anti-Semitism that so many of us keep warning everybody about, and don't think for a minute that it is just on the left. So we're seeing it on the right. We're even seeing it in St. Louis on the right in some areas here.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It highlights the fact that there's, I don't know. I'm trying to think of how I want to say this. When these ideas go unchecked without someone just saying, hey, guys, like, slow your roll. Think about what you're talking about. And they've lost their way. And so then they think the answer is something like this. These guys in particular are going to find out, or are finding out, that that's not the case. But it is very troubling. And at least kudos to, investigators and law enforcement who were able to foil this. They deserve props for that, because that was my big concern about this past weekend was, is something going to go wrong? Like, is something bad going to happen?
Because there was a lot of people, and a lot of very rich and powerful people on the White House grounds. A lot of them. And groups like this, they've got their ideological thing, but you understand that they're basically the amateur version of Hezbollah, the amateur version of Hamas, the amateur version of Al Qaeda. I mean, and that these are the American wannabes of those, and they probably detest those groups, but that's basically what you devolved into when you get caught up in this kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
Well, on a more positive note, we are going to be celebrating our 5th birthday as a radio station. It is NewsTalkSTL's 5th birthday coming up here on the 26th. That would be Friday here, coming up in
next Friday.
Week from Friday. Week from Friday.
And we are going to celebrate it properly by hanging out with the Retro Nerds at Frankie Martin's Garden. That will be going on for 7 to 10 p.m. on the outside stage. It is an all-ages party, so bring the kids, bring the grandkids, bring your friends. Come hang out with us and have a good time. You can find more information on that at newstalkstl.com/Frankie Martin.
How much are we charging to get into that?
Well, I'm going to be charging my own fees, but the event is supposed to be free, so just avoid.
So if Jerome says, "Hey, $5 to get in," I'm the bouncer. You're like, "No, you're not," and just walk past him.
$0.
Yeah,
$0.
It's not much I can do to stop
Yeah, I
that.
mean, bring something for the food trucks, but go. Yeah.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Strong to severe thunderstorms possible this evening, but ahead of those storms, it turns hot, humid, and windy. A wind advisory this afternoon, some gusts out of the southwest up to 45 miles per hour. Meanwhile, temperatures spike to around 92 for the high. Let's be prepared for thunderstorms in the metro area from around 7 to 10 p.m. Wind, hail, tornadoes, all on the table. And then rain chances wind down quickly overnight as we drop to a low of 69. A spot shower or two around Thursday, much cooler at 79. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Scott, can you believe it's already been more than a decade since the Queen of Carpets sold flooring to St. Louis area contractors?
I know, but I don't have to be a king to offer contractors today's lowest prices.
Yes, contractors owe it to their customers and themselves to shop at Best Buy Flooring for the largest in-stock selection of carpet, carpet tile, sheet vinyl, laminate, hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, and luxury vinyl tile.
Plus 3 convenient locations, North County, South County, and Metro East.
Open 7 days a week.
Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy. Best Buy Flooring.
Larry Connor's commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit VincentsJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
In 1999, President Clinton declared June as Gay and Lesbian Pride Month. When Obama ran, he said, "I'm for marriage between a man and a woman." But the woke crowd got to him. He said, "I evolved." In his second term, he expanded Gay and Lesbian Pride Month to include the entire LGBTQ plus community. A few weeks ago, the MLB said baseball is for everyone. In June, all the teams except for one wear rainbow pride uniforms and ball caps. The Texas Rangers refuse. They have what they call Faith and Family Night, which would suggest, yes, baseball is truly for everyone. 3 of the San Francisco Giants wrote Bible verses on their uniforms and caps, variations Genesis 9:12-16, where God proclaims the rainbow is my covenant, that I will never again destroy mankind by flood. One player said, "There is no hate intended, it's just my belief, my stand." Reminds me of evangelist Billy Sunday telling his congregation, "You want to stand on something?" He tossed his Bible to the floor and said, "Stand on this."
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Remember when food tasted like home? When breakfast was made from scratch and dessert was worth saving room for? At Shorty's Diner, we're serving up down-home breakfasts, lunches, and desserts just like Mom used to make. Fresh, from scratch, every single day. Step back in time with us, where the booths are cozy, Elvis is always in the building, and every plate feels like a hug.
Hey, it's Jamie Allman. Join me for the 3 Martini Lunch, noon to 2, live from Shorty's Diner this Friday. Stop by for a delicious breakfast or lunch at Shorty's Diner on Lackland in Westport.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common-sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Tim Jones here to introduce you to your new favorite roofing company, Corel Roofing. There were 4 major storms last year. Did your roof take a hit? Do you even know? Most homeowner insurance policies require claims to be filed within 1 year, so time's running out for a closer look. At Corel Roofing Company, you get a local roofing specialist who will advocate for you every step of the way. Give yourself peace of mind. Schedule your roof inspection today with Corel Roofing at CorelRoofingCo.com. That's CorelRoofingCo.com.
I think you're a little confused.
News, analysis, opinion.
I've got something to say and I can't hold it any longer.
101.9 and 94.1.
You won't hear the truth anywhere but here. News Talk STL.
News Talk STL.
The Mike Ferguson Show is one of my favorite programs. In addition to Larry Connors USA, catch my program at 6. Now, back to Mike.
Okay, this is a free speech case that's not just about free speech. You actually mentioned this in your Red State Rundown yesterday.
I did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a spotlight on the left-wing culture of public schools in America, and it's a reminder that if given the chance, they're going to abuse their authority, many of them.
Yeah.
And Jennifer wrote this just with the receipts, what happened with this young girl in, I guess this was one of the Carolinas, I think it was.
Yeah, Charlotte Mecklenburg.
And Jennifer Oliver O'Connell from Red State joins us right now. I want to start with that piece you did yesterday, Jennifer. Charlotte school learns expensive lesson after smearing student over Charlie Kirk tribute. And we've seen, I mean, it was not hard, Jennifer, right after Charlie Kirk's assassination to go find examples, libs of TikTok and some of the others that found examples of just horrendous behavior and statements from, public school administrators and teachers and staff members all over the country. But in this case, you had a young girl who got permission, wrote something patriotic inspired by Charlie Kirk on a rock on the campus. And then all of a sudden the school changed the story and kind of drugged this girl through a bunch of crap on this. Give us the timeline or not the timeline, but kind of the chain of events here.
Yeah. Hello, Susie and Mike. Good morning, and thanks for having me. Gabby Stout. I was going to say Brittany Stout. No, Gabby Stout is the student at a high school in the Charlotte Mecklenburg School District, which is known to be very left-wing, very liberal, like sadly a majority of big city school districts. Mm-hmm. And so Gabby, as you said, got permission to paint the Spirit Rock, was expressing her heart and her patriotism. What she wrote was 1776 and, something along the line, a scripture, and then be like Charlie. Nothing controversial or horrific about that, nothing political about that. What was bad is that not only did they pull the rug out from under her and assuming it was vandalism and immediately painting it over, but they tried to publicly shame her. They told her you're going to have to write an apology. They announced it all over the PA that this is vandalism and we're calling the police and we're investigating. It's like there's one thing to call a student out and, point out their behavior. It's another thing to publicly shame. And so they wanted to make a statement, and they're paying for that statement.
Okay, let me ask a real quick follow-up because I know Susie's got something here, Jennifer. And so this is not a case of, I just want to make sure I'm covering the bases. This is not a case of, somebody approved it, but somebody else didn't know that it was approved. The right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing. This was, oh, crap, we've got to save face here and throw the kid under the bus.
Bingo.
Okay.
Bingo. Everybody knew about, every administrator in charge knew about this. She followed the law, the proper procedures to do what she did, as well as other students in the past and other groups in the past have been allowed to paint that Spirit Rock that were overtly political. The hand symbol, the raised fist symbol, mm-hmm. Black Lives Matter, all of the LGBTQ. They were allowed to have their Spirit Rocks painted and plotted and blah, 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 blah. But this symbol, beyond the pale. And again, hours later, this was hours after she had painted it that they did this. Not a day, not 2 weeks, hours.
Well, and to your point, I mean, if it had been one of those situations where one administrator approved it, but others didn't agree with it, so they kind of, went back on their word, if you will, that'd be one thing. But it wasn't just that they said, oh, no, you don't have permission. It was, you vandalized this and we're calling the police. Mm-hmm. That's what I don't understand. Like, why would the school get law enforcement involved on something that at most, the worst case scenario was a disagreement amongst the decision makers?
Exactly. It was an egregious cover-up, and it was also, as the lawsuit pointed out, a gross violation of her free speech expression.
Yeah, and
they should not have jumped on that and gone with it the way they did.
Yeah, and that cost them, which we'll get to in a minute. But I also read in your article, Jennifer, that the school demanded she turn over her phone, and they went and searched through it. On what planet does the public school have the authority to confiscate your phone and demand access to go through it? The answer should be no and screw you. principal or teacher. That's the answer the student should give to the authority if they try that, in my opinion. Not
Most
just no, but
definitely.
the most disrespectful no possible.
Yeah. I'm assuming, this is still the South, North Carolina, so I'm assuming they were respectful, but the Stouts said no. She did not write a letter of apology. She was not handing over her phone. The Stouts said we're getting lawyers involved, and Alliance, I believe it was the ADF, Alliance Defending Freedom, did their thing.
Yeah. And so now the school district is paying a settlement for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, $95,000.
Yeah.
As
Congratulations, taxpayers.
As well as and not just that, a change in the policy, which, as far as I'm concerned, is also important. That and shows Gabby Stout's mindset that it's not just about me. I don't want anyone else to have to go through this.
Yeah.
So they had to rewrite their policies in order to reflect that we're allowed to do this. We shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to allow one perspective, then don't allow any. If you're going to allow one, then allow the others. It's just that's simple. We're visiting with Jennifer Oliver O'Connell from RedState.com. There were some elections yesterday. Interesting results in Georgia, I thought. And, of course, the media wants to make so much out of President Trump's endorsements on this, but that's just one part of the story. What are we taking away from Georgia? Because these were really closely watched.
They were. I think they split the baby in a sense because Collins had Trump's endorsement as well, and he won fairly well. Jones had Trump's endorsement too, and he lost. So as well as Jones was a part of that entire Rassberger and Kemp administration that through the awful 2020s, all of that mess. So I get the impression that Georgia was just like, okay, we need to get rid of whoever was involved in that issue, and that includes you, Lieutenant Governor. So bye-bye. We're going to go with the billionaire.
Yeah, Jennifer, I wondered about that. The common denominator, I mean, obviously Trump endorsed both the Senate candidate that won and the gubernatorial candidate who lost. So what else was different? Well, the difference was Governor Kemp also endorsed the the gubernatorial candidate who lost, and there was that tie-in to the Kemp administration and Brad Raffensperger, all of that. So you do have to wonder, was this Georgia Republicans, who are a little squirrely, let's just be honest, in terms of trying to pin down like where they're headed, was this their message to basically the Georgia GOP establishment that we're time for something new and different?
I'm with you, Susie. I agree with you. They just said we need to wash our hands of that whole 2020 mess. Anybody associated with Kemp needs to go, and therefore with Kemp, and it was a last-minute endorsement too. Maybe Kemp would have done him better not to endorse him.
Yeah.
But he endorsed him, and they were just like, okay, if Kemp is endorsing him, we love you, Trump, but we got to step away from this.
It was funny. One of the AP headlines that I saw on this is what was it? Basically, it was, what does it cost to overcome a Trump endorsement? $100 million.
That's a pretty hefty price tag.
That was one of the news headlines that I saw about
that. Not accurate.
Well, Jennifer, you are, of course, a resident of Alabama these days, and you all are getting a new senator as well. And so you also reported on the outcome of that election. That had an interesting twist because while Barry Moore, who was the Trump-endorsed candidate there as well, did win, some people kind of jumped the gun on that one.
Yes. Am I allowed to mention them, or will you guys get sued?
You're allowed to.
Major media outlet, Fox News, basically ran a pre-write, and we know about pre-writes because we do it all the time at RedState,
yes,
but we don't make them public. Oops. Saying that Jared Hudson, who was the favored candidate in the race, the media-favored candidate, I'll put it that way, in the race, had won the Senate election. And the polls were all over the place for this candidate. And, he was a conservative, or he claimed to be, all of that. But the full court press by the media, which is always gets me suspicious. I'm rather like our pal Brad. Okay, what angle are they pushing? What are they trying to do? He was just way too media savvy, way too being promoted by certain media types. And when he was actually called on the issues, I actually, I got the great privilege of, going to some of these forums and hearing him. And I asked him a direct question, actually. And he bounced all over it. He wouldn't answer a direct question. This is Jared Hudson. So the fact that they were promoting him was very suspicious. And, I know everybody's into this anti-incumbent fervor, but not every incumbent needs to go.
No.
And Barry Moore is a quality candidate. He's been a quality representative for his area. And so it's a good thing that Fox News got it wrong, as well as that the Alabama people got it right.
And yes, I took screenshots.
Yeah. So basically,
I have those in my back pocket next time we get criticized or something. Oh yeah. At least we didn't send out an alert on this.
So it's basically 2026 version of Dewey defeats Truman.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, most definitely. That was part of a headline, a snafu that involved Dewey defeats Truman.
Oh, my goodness. All right, Jennifer Oliver O'Connell from RedState.com. Find your work there at RedStateWealth.com. And then, Jennifer, people want to follow you and connect with you. They do it how?
As the Girl Turns on all media platforms.
We'll talk to you again soon, Jennifer.
Talk to you soon. Thanks.
Thanks, Jennifer. Hey, Jerome let you know this earlier, but in case you forgot, do you know what today is?
Bump Day!
I guess sometimes that's gonna. At some point, that's gonna get old, but it's kind of fun. I don't know. Why not?
That's our poll right now. We haven't done that one in a while.
I know. Well, anyway, it is Bump Day, and the reason we call it Bump Day is to remind you that Friday is coming up, Flashback Friday, and we want your bump music requests. You got to turn those into Jerome. And what is our theme this week? Do we know?
Songs that remind you of your loved ones.
Oh,
interesting.
Sweet.
Okay.
Charming.
Right.
So get those requests into Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com.
And I think if we ever didn't do the Bump Day, I think there'd be a revolt.
What's wrong with you guys?
Yeah. Where is it?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
We love our Mario's Donuts around here. We talk about that all the time. We get Mario's Donuts in here, and sometimes, even though I'm like on the fitness and the health train, you just need a donut every once in a while. A donut is not going to derail you, or even two, which I'll probably do today. I'm just saying is that there is a big difference with Mario's Donuts, and also check them out just off Mugi Road. Huge area. I mean, you think of a donut or a coffee shop, you think of this little confined space where you got to whisper. Listen, they got a lot of room out there. A lot of room to hang out, maybe whip out your laptop and get some work done, or just visit with friends. Cool, funky, a lot of fun, and you can get your breakfast sandwiches. You can get healthy food there. You can get your eggs, you can get your omelets, you can get your gyros, and you can get your lunch there as well. Check out mariosdonutrestaurant.com to get the entire menu. I love hanging out at Mario's. You will too. It's a lot of fun. Enrique owns the place, does a great job with it. Also, in the back there, you've got the wall dedicated to veterans as well. So they are doing the right thing. Local business, delicious donuts. Yes, there's a difference. You have a Mario's donut, you are not going to look at those convenience store ones the same way ever again, and that's a good thing. Mario's Donut Restaurant, listen, right there, right off, like I said, on Mugi Road. Check them out, visit, say hi, tell them that Mike was bragging about them, and thanks them for their delicious donuts.
Looking for unbelievable deals? Stop by Overstock Outlet in Lake St. Louis or Warrenton. Open 7 days a week. Discover big savings on a huge variety of merchandise with no hassle. Just great prices. Visit us in Lake St. Louis on Highway N or in Warrenton on Boones Lake. Check out our Facebook page at Overstock Outlet Lake St. Louis. Or go online to OverstockOutletSTL.com. Unbeatable value, friendly service, and you never know what we'll have at Overstock Outlet.
This year, America turns 250, and NewsTalk STL is celebrating our nation's semi-quincentennial all year long. NewsTalk STL, #1 for live and local Soros-free talk, with proud supporters of our 250th birthday celebration. DiGregorio's Italian Market, AAA Motor Speedway, and American Family Insurance. 250 years strong, and we're just getting started. 1019 and 94.1 NewsTalk STL.
Newstalk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 2 times every weekend on Newstalk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Let's get back to all this madcap mayhem with Mike Ferguson in the morning. But don't forget, stick around for Jones and Arps every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m.
Just want to give you a little preview of what's coming up here in about 15 minutes. We have a lot of Republican congressmen and women on the show here. Former Democratic Congressman Joe Cunningham is going to be on the program here talking, okay, what do the Democrats need to do if they want to appeal for your vote or from the folks in the middle as well? I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I'll give you a little bit of a preview, the affordability issue, but also he's going to be arguing that the Democrats should be talking about making prescriptions more affordable as well. So we're going to have a serious conversation with a former Democratic Congressman Joe Cunningham here in about 14 minutes.
Not to be confused with my RedState colleague, Joe Cunningham, who's also joined us on the show in the past.
Yes.
2 different guys.
Different Joe Cunningham. This one used to be in Congress. Yes. So we'll talk to him in just a little bit here. Another data center project coming to the region, and this one is, I think, the biggest one yet in this part of the state, actually, this part of the entire region on either side of the river. And a Missourian is among those charged in connection with a plot to attack the UFC event at the White House. Redbirds, man, they are on a roll right now.
They are.
It is 7:53. Let's do another news dump here.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by Mario's Donut Restaurant.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the Morning News Dump.
Now I want a Mario's Donut. All right. A $10 billion data center campus is coming to the NewsTalk STL area. Governor Mike Kehoe and Montgomery County officials made that announcement on Tuesday. The Amazon project expected to create about 400 permanent jobs and over 1,000 construction jobs while being built. The governor's office says Amazon is going to pay for both its electric and water usage 100% and also pay for the connections needed for those utilities. The company is committed to $7 million in donations to the community, including $3 million to support emergency dispatch services in Montgomery County. One of the things that's interesting, Susie and Jerome, is that I could not find any large-scale organized opposition to this in Montgomery County that's anything close to what you're seeing, for instance, in Festus and Jefferson County or questions in Lincoln County or anywhere like that.
Well, I mean,
some communities like data centers, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean,
maybe they're okay with the way this agreement was made.
Right. Yeah, and obviously that's a lot of pretty high-paying jobs that are going to be coming to the area. So it's definitely going to be an economic boon to the area. That's going to happen anywhere at the data center. They are economic boons. It's the trade-off that people are pushing back against, saying it's not worth it for that, or it is worth it. And so Montgomery County looks like I'm not going to say a consensus, but there's just really not any big opposition I could find. So interesting, different there. Okay, the FBI arresting 5 people in connection with an alleged drone terror attack that was planned for last Sunday's America 250 UFC event at the White House. On Fox and Friends, Vice President J.D. Vance calling for a de-escalation in the violent rhetoric that we're now attaching to politics everywhere.
This is very, very dark stuff. And unfortunately, we're talking about this a little bit off camera, but this is what happens when people turn the rhetoric up so loud that disagreeing with somebody is a cause for violence. That's the place that we've come to, unfortunately, with too much of our political rhetoric. We got to tell everybody to tone it down.
Officials say the plan involved using drones equipped with explosive devices to cause a mass evacuation event and then have shooters ready to target specific people or just anybody. Among the 5 suspects is a 32-year-old man from Northwest Missouri. Daniel Eskridge is accused of coordinating the plan. All right, our friends at Channel 4 say this is a first alert weather day. Possibly strong storms will move into the region this afternoon As of now, it's expected to arrive in the St. Louis Metro by 7 o'clock, but could be as early as 5 to 5:30. But here's the thing. Damaging winds and hail are possible tonight, possible tornado watches, maybe even warning. As with any forecast, though, this can change, and it can change rapidly, so make sure that you are tracking the forecast. We'll have updates. Channel 4 has the app. Most phones have an app, but keep an eye on this one.
Definitely do. Oh, go ahead, Jerome.
No.
I just wanted to say, first of all, if you have a place to house your car, and you might want to do that.
Yeah.
And secondly, this is going to be a very fast-moving storm, so it's even more important to be paying attention to like the radar and stuff, so that you can have a plan, so know where you're going to be, so you can get someplace safe if you need to.
Yeah, so could be as early as drive time coming in, but it could come in to the actual metro itself, as in the city and the first and second ring suburbs. Maybe not until 7 o'clock, but somewhere in there, be ready by the time you're leaving work. And I think a lot of people, like last weekend, we were supposed to get bad storms that kind of went around us. It looks like this one's coming right at us.
Yeah, I saw a very, very large branch that luckily happened to be the only spot where a car was not parked, but you might want to keep an eye out for any loose branches or anything that could fall from the storm.
And better be prepared and go, okay, well, it wasn't as bad as we thought, but just keep an eye on it. Okay, Cardinals win the second game of their series against the Padres. Last night's final at Busch Stadium was 3-2. Andre Palante picking up his 8th win of the season after pitching 7 full innings. He only gave up 4 hits in those 7 innings. The Birds are going to try for the sweep this afternoon. Game time 1:15 with Kyle Leahy on the mound for the Cardinals. Cardinals are still in second place in the NL Central Division. They are 4.5 games behind the Brewers, and so that means over the past couple days they've gained a full game on the Brewers, and the Cardinals just outperforming what everybody thought they were going to do at this point. Kyle Leahy with 8 wins. We're not even at the All-Star break. He's on pace for 20 wins.
Let's get real. Here's the truth about eliminating Missouri's income tax.
I'm here with State Representative Bishop Davidson. And Bishop, you've heard the complaints about the proposal. Here's your colleague, Representative Ashley Awney.
Frankly, the only thing that this resolution does is increase sales taxes.
So what does this do and what does it not do if we say yes?
The first part of this constitutional amendment is a constitutional shall. It's a guarantee to the people in Missouri that if they vote for this, that their legislature will enact and shall enact legislation to eliminate income taxes using natural economic growth over time. That means when the economy grows, instead of it going back into the coffers of the state, it goes into the pockets of Missourians. The second part is a constitutional may. It allows the legislature to have a conversation around sales taxes, but only so that they can eliminate income taxes faster and reduce local tax rates like personal property tax and real property.
Get the facts at afpmissouri.com.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rex Thomason. While acknowledging that nobody knows what it is, President Trump knows, and he's describing the U.S.-Iran deal as a very strong deal. He spoke as the G7 summit wraps up in France. The president pausing the Senate confirmation process for his National Intelligence Director nominee, Jay Clayton. The president would like to get a voter ID bill through Congress first. Clayton, meanwhile, has backers on both sides of the political aisle.
President Trump's nomination of Jay Clayton to serve as Director of National Intelligence is drawing bipartisan support from lawmakers and national security leaders. Clayton previously served as U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York and as Chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Supporters from both parties point to his experience prosecuting terrorists and cartels, while Senate leaders are signaling they expect a swift confirmation process. Willie Nelson, the White House.
It was a dramatic and a deadly scene on a Texas highway last night. A business jet crashed on the roadway in South Texas. One person killed.
Laredo police say the plane had 6 people on board when it crashed Tuesday night on the Loop 20 highway near Laredo International Airport. The plane was nearly sheared in half and tipped on its side. Dashcam video on social media shows the aircraft careening down the highway, taking out a light post before coming to a stop. The crash caused chaos. People left their vehicles to frantically try to smash out the cockpit window and free those inside. First responders can be heard calling for a ladder as they tried to free a passenger trapped inside. I'm Mike Hempel.
The government reports that retail sales rose by a solid 0.9% last month. This as the weather warmed and gas prices moderated somewhat. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures are mixed right now. The Dow futures down 22 points, while the NASDAQ futures are 190 points higher. More on these stories, townhall.com.
You bought an RV, and you got an automatic discount from Progressive by bundling it with your home or auto insurance. That's great, but a serious word of warning every RVer should heed. You don't need to talk about things like dry weight or dump stations. And you don't need one of those expensive water filter straws either. Because the most extreme thing most RVers encounter is a campsite without hookups. So just enjoy yourself. And Progressive's automatic discount when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
Advantage Gold, America's #1 precious metals company, is sounding the alarm that a storm is coming. That's why we're offering an emergency gold and silver protection kit valued at $49 for anyone who calls today at 800-900-8000. Call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 and we'll rush your emergency gold and silver kit plus a free copy of Ken Rogoff's book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Results vary. Consult your tax advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Strong to severe thunderstorms possible this evening, but ahead of those storms, it turns hot, humid, and windy. A wind advisory this afternoon, some gusts out of the southwest up to 45 miles per hour. Meanwhile, temperatures spike to around 92 for the high. Let's be prepared for thunderstorms in the metro area from around 7 to 10 p.m. Wind, hail, tornadoes, all on the table. And then rain chances wind down quickly overnight as we drop to a low of 69. A spot shower or two around Thursday, much cooler at 79. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
This spring into savings with Johnson Heating and Cooling. Rebates up to $600 off a complete HVAC system. And here's the deal. Purchase a complete system and get a free humidifier. Plus, financing available up to 0% for 60 months. Don't miss out. These offers expire June 30th. Visit johnson-heatingandcooling.com. That's johnson-heatingandcooling.com. Johnson Heating and Cooling. Your comfort, our priority.
Got scrap metal, junk cars, or old appliances taking up space? Turn that clutter into cash. Since 1968, 21 Recycling and Scrap Metal has been the area's trusted name for recycling. We buy copper, brass, aluminum cans, scrap iron, wheels, catalytic converters, AC units, water heaters, washers, dryers, and yes, junk cars too. With our brand new truck scale on premises, getting paid is fast and easy. Old Highway 21 by Highway M or 21-recycling.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Hey, we're doing a little switcheroony with you this week. Monday, we played fake news. So, what we normally do on Monday, everybody's favorite game show, that's crap. And that'll be Wednesday at 9:25.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Boo! Relax, nerd.
Susie Moore.
And that would be a good time to respond with some applause.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up! up, St. Louis?
That's a banana republic without the banana.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, we've talked a lot about what Republicans should do when it comes to making their case in the midterm, but what about the Democrats?
Very good question.
It's not like either party has a lot of trouble stepping on rakes, especially when it comes to election season. Republicans have their issues. Democrats have their issues on that. So you've got a couple different fronts on the midterm elections. One would be who's going to win the gerrymandering contest at this point. Both parties are pretty skilled at that at this point. And yes, it's gerrymandering. But then the other is what are the messaging, and then what are the issues that matter to those people in the middle who are actually going to decide the handful of races that are going to determine whether the Republicans or the Democrats are going to be in charge come 2027. And so we talked to a lot of members of Congress on this program, and I'm looking forward to this one. Joe Cunningham, former congressman out of South Carolina. He was the first Democrat to be elected in South Carolina's first congressional district in over 40 years when he took office, and he joins us right now. Congressman, appreciate you being on the program. And by the way, if people want to check out the book is called, what was it, Life of the Party. I had it right here on my phone, and then it scrolled up on me. Life of the Party, How Democrats Lost the Trust of the American People. And I think I messed up the wording, but that's essentially the gist of it. But that's...
Close enough there, Mike.
Yeah.
You hit it spot on.
I had it right in front of me.
And how they can win it back, Mike. And I wrote that out of a place of love for the Democratic Party, but honesty as well. I think the party needs that right now, especially considering what happened in 2024 and how they can regain the trust of American voters.
Okay, so I want to talk about the affordability and some of the more everyday things that people deal with here in just a second. But one of the things, and obviously, you're on a conservative station right now, is that in so many different cases, we talk a lot about on this show where there's that old-fashioned Democrat. Around here we would say, the Ike Skelton, or the Dick Gephardt, or people like that in this region people identify with. They were liberal, they were on the left, but they were more the center-left type thing. But now it seems like your party is being driven by the fringe and the people who are all over just issues that repel people in the middle as far as the sexual identity stuff and all that sort of thing. Is that part of what the Democrats have done to lose the trust of the American people?
That's part of it, Mike. And I talk about that in the book, The Culture Wars, that the Democrats have been walked into and trapped there and had to defend defenseless positions. The Democrats cannot keep finding themselves on the wrong side of these 80-20 issues. And so in the book, I stake out some which I think will be highly beneficial to the Democratic Party. And for your listeners' benefit, I grew up just a few hours away from where you're at now in far western Kentucky, an area that was once reliably heavily Democratic, partly because of FDR's New Deal that created the TVA, which dammed up rivers and created jobs and cheap hydroelectric power. These are the days when the Democratic Party had big, bold ideas for the working class Americans. And, many people either set out or drifted independent or towards the Republican Party, in part in 2024 because they didn't feel like the Democratic Party was offering them anything. They're talking about social issues or saving democracy, but at the end of the day, it was becoming more and more expensive to live. Wages weren't keeping up with the rising costs of fuel and prescription drugs and groceries, and so folks feel like they've been shut out. And so I wrote that book on how the Democratic Party might be able to win back those voters. And because, look, I understand your listeners are conservative. Whether or not you're Democrat or Republican, you should cheer for having competitiveness in politics because it produces the best ideas. And you should root for a strong Republican Party and a strong Democratic Party to be competitive so we get the best ideas and the best policies that lift up everyone.
Both parties have their share of weirdos. I'm the first to admit that. Are the Democrats going to have nationwide? Are they going to have a Graham-Plattner problem come midterms?
I don't know. We're gonna find out. I mean, in the last few years, especially with President Trump, Democrats have not held their tongue in criticizing every single thing he does, says, and every character defect. And so when you do that and you take this holier than thou approach, you're going to open yourself up when eventually somebody comes along who doesn't fit that perfect mold. And we all everybody makes mistakes, so that you're not going to have any perfect candidate. The question is whether or not the Democratic Party decides to take every opportunity to attack Republicans or Trump, or whether or not there's some grace and realize that, look, there are no perfect candidates, and we shouldn't be so hypocritical to attack those on the other side, but then ignore the peril within our own party. And, you're seeing a lot of that play out now with, we saw recently yesterday with Hillary Clinton coming out and saying that Biden shouldn't have run. Well, as the first Democrat who's come out to say Biden should not have run, I said that back in 2023. It pains me to know that more leaders did not step up to address that issue. But that's how we find ourselves in the position that we are right now. It's because more people didn't step up and say what people were saying, privately.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I've mentioned before. I say that Democrats are better at circling the wagons and Republicans are better at circling the firing squad.
Well, as a Democrat who has found themselves in the middle of that firing squad from being the first Democrat to say that Biden shouldn't run, I can tell you, firsthand, it can be pretty lonely once you start criticizing your own party. And look, I stand on those words and the op-eds that I penned years and years ago about Biden passing the torch, and I wasn't popular at the time, and was shut out of a lot of Democratic circles. But I sleep good at night, and I know that had the Democratic Party been true to their word and Biden passed the torch and had an open and fair primary instead of a coronation, then we might produce a candidate who might have defeated President Trump. But that's in the past. But I want the party to at least be honest with American people, because I think that's its first step in regaining their trust.
The book is called Life of the Party, How Democrats Lost America's Trust and How They Can Win It Back. It was written by former Congressman Joe Cunningham, who's with us right now. Okay, let's talk about the affordability issue. And I've heard it, obviously a number of Democrats jump in and saying this is the issue for the midterms. And I think Republicans should be approaching that as well. And you may have different takes on how to make things more affordable. But you're sort of gravitating in towards prescription drugs and anything healthcare related. What is it that you think, maybe not Republican or Democrat, but policy-wise, can be done to make life less expensive, particularly when it comes to the healthcare aspect and the prescription aspect?
Well, first of all, affordability is the issue. Healthcare is a cornerstone of that. Our healthcare system, Mike, is a mess, and we don't have the time to go into every single nook and cranny today. But it's just a mess. Anybody who's encountered it understands how expensive and how much of a mess it is. Fixing the prescription drug issue and the high cost that we're paying in our country is probably one of the easiest fixes. We are subsidizing the lower cost that other countries enjoy. And if you're conservative, if you're Buy America First, if you're a fan of President Trump or not, he did come out and support the most favored nation, which is something we would like to codify to make sure that Americans are paying the same, but not more than what other developed countries are paying. That's legislation that can be drafted and passed, and it can bring prices down. There's also, Mike, some patent reform that can be done, because right now, when a big pharma's patent is about to expire, they may manipulate that patent, like adjust the dosage or something like that, and extend the life of the patent and not allow generic drugs to enter the market, because when generic drugs come in, the prices come down. So Big Pharma is manipulating that system to ensure that they have the monopoly and they have the market. When if you're a capitalist, it should be an open market, and you shouldn't be boxing out competition, and you should abide by supply and demand and not allowing pharma to control both. So those are just a couple examples of things that can change, and both of those enjoy bipartisan support. I mean, we got polling, and I'm specifically talking about Democrats, but about over 3/4 of Democrats saying drug prices got more expensive. 83% of Democrats say making prescription drugs more affordable is extremely or very important. So that's a key takeaway as it relates to polling and how voters feel.
Congressman, what's the right balance, at least from a policy perspective? And I know we're getting a little wonky here, but to allowing those generics to come in, but still also not disincentivizing the big pharma companies from doing the research and the development. I mean, it's been said that, the second pill that comes off the line cost, $1, but the first one may have cost $50 billion. So how do you strike that balance to keep the medicine's affordable, including with the generics, but also not taking out that R&D that these companies, and I don't think they're the good guys, don't get me wrong, but they do some good things with their R&D. How do we strike that balance?
Look, I'm a capitalist. I want people to make money. I want people to turn a profit just as much as the other guy. Where I have a problem with is where you have Americans either not filling their prescriptions or breaking pills in half. I mean, 1 out of 5 people don't fill the prescriptions. 1 out of 7 break pills in half to make it through the month. Big pharma, of course they need money to do R&D, but we also see from turning on TV how much money they pump into advertising and marketing. And we also know by looking at their profit margin how it's traditionally way higher than others on the S&P 500. So I don't subscribe that they need all this for R&D or that they use all of it for R&D because the facts suggest otherwise. I do think there's some small changes that could be made to the patent process, or look, at least just don't have Americans subsidize the lower costs that other countries enjoy. I mean, why should Canadians be getting these pills cheaper, and then Americans are paying higher prices for it? It just doesn't make sense if these are American companies and their pills and their prescriptions are crafted by the ingenuity and the innovation of Americans in our country, then we should be reaping some more of the benefits of it.
All right, former Congressman Joe Cunningham, we just got a minute or so left here. Let me get to the last part of the title of your book, How Democrats Can Win It Back After Losing the Trust of America. And I think it's interesting that you focused on how Democrats lost America's trust. How can they win the trust back? I don't know that that's something you do necessarily in just one election cycle, but what do you think your party should be doing to win some of that back this time around?
It's going to take a bit of time. It's going to take, speaking authentically and genuinely to Americans, not speaking at them, not speaking down to them. We can't disparage people because of who they voted for. There's a lot of good people who voted for Trump, and the Democratic Party needs to acknowledge that. It needs to acknowledge that we're all Americans and that we generally all want the same thing. Our country would be better and stronger and safer. And again, people can pick up that book on Amazon or lifeofthepartybook.com, but it's going to take, as you mentioned, it's going to take a bit of time. I don't think 2026 should be the tell-all because the Democratic Party is going to have the wind at their backs. The real test is going to come in 2028, and whether or not people have a better approval of the Democratic Party. It's going to take more authentic candidates stepping up, speaking plainly, but also being honest about what happened in 2024 and leading up to it.
All right, former Congressman Joe Cunningham, appreciate the time here. I'd love to have you back on the program if you're up to that, even though you're dealing with a conservative show here.
I'd love to, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity.
And people want to connect with you, social media, website, what's the best way?
At Joe Cunningham, SC.
Sounds good.
South Carolina.
We'll talk to you again soon.
Right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, not only does our radio station have a birthday coming up, not only does America have a birthday coming up, guess who else has a birthday coming up? That would be Nutrition Stop.
Oh.
Yes, and it's a week from Saturday, noon to 3. We're talking about full-on barbecue with really healthy food. They are actually getting out of the alcohol business, and so they've got everything in stock is going to be on clearance. And of course, these are better ingredient, healthier, all natural type of. You can get whiskeys and wines with all of that. It's very tasty actually. So they're going to be doing that. A lot of food samples, just a lot of fun. Mark that on your calendar. So after you have fun with this on Friday, a week from Friday, Saturday, come on out and visit. I'll be there. That's going to happen from noon to 3 at Nutrition Stop, just off Mexico Road. So mark that down and stop by and say hi.
You want to give me more information?
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
A cross between Socrates and Dirty Harry.
On News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here from my great friends at Comprehensive Chiropractic, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. How do I know? Simply put, they've helped me on many occasions. Here's another solution to your everyday aches and pains. The Studio Health and Wellness Center. Services include Pilates and yoga, both with certified instructors. I can also highly recommend the massage therapy, which is not an indulgence. It's a proven method of healing and restoration. Trust my friends at Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka. cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com.
Oh, Adam, you are so romantic. And I love the kitchen you found with all these great crumbs.
Yeah, baby, only the finest crumbs in the kitchen for my favorite aunt. Oh no, It's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint, formulated to outsmart the elements. Rain or shine, sleet or snow, mold or mildew. Our home exterior coatings intelligently designed to stand up to Mother Nature. Call 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
JC's Wayback Machine.
It's Father's Day weekend, so we'll have lots of songs about dear old dad.
I married your mother because I wanted children. Imagine my disappointment when you arrived.
We'll also bring in the first day of summer, and our A-list interview of the week is with Dana Carvey.
So I walk into the Oval Office, blown away. I see Bush, and I go, Mr. President. And then I saw Quayle, and without thinking, I went, Dan!
All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9 on News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Chris Arps. If you enjoy a good cigar like I do, check out Dorset Cigar at 11396 Dorset Road in Maryland Heights. They'll help you find the perfect smoke, and they have a fantastic premium selection. Mention promo code NewsTalkSTL for 7% off. Visit DorsetCigar.com.
The Democrat Party is going to have to go back toward the center.
News, analysis, and opinion.
I've never called a talk show before, but this just irked me.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
You know, for a hot minute a couple days ago, the big news was we now, in the world, we have a trillionaire.
Yep.
Elon Musk is the first documented trillionaire. He's now worth like $1.3 trillion.
Wow.
And so people kind of have a misunderstanding of what that actually means. And that doesn't mean he's Scrooge McDuck and he's doing, you know, the backstroke in a big pile of gold coins or dollar bills. That's not what that means. That means he owns assets worth over $1 trillion, obviously, with X, formerly known as Twitter, and SpaceX. I think, well, yeah, I mean, he owns, the internet, what link?
Starlink.
Yeah. You know, so he owns these products and services that are so massive that he's now worth $1.3 trillion. And so when you look around social media, you're seeing a bunch of like whiny people. You know, one guy I saw, he's like, I'm living paycheck to paycheck and I have no savings and I'm X number of years old and Elon Musk is a trillionaire. I mean, and so it's like, well, then you should have planned better, you know, for you know, now bad things happen, don't get me wrong. But there was actually some polling that was done by YouGov. And I kind of like YouGov polling. I'm not a big fan of polling at all, but YouGov has such big samples that I think they tell us a little bit more. And they were asking basically, do you think it's okay that somebody's a trillionaire? And the follow-up question was, should there be a limit to how much people should be allowed to be worth financially or be allowed to own?
Interesting.
Yeah. So here's what they came up with. Let me start with the other question. Should there be a limit on how much personal wealth one person can accumulate? Almost a third of Americans said yes.
Interesting.
Almost a third. 30% of Americans said yes, there should be a limit to how much one person can accumulate. 51% said no, there should not be, which is a little encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other 20% or so, I guess that'd be, 19%, said they're not sure. Okay, so there's going to be some break in that. So a slim majority of Americans say, no, you shouldn't legally limit what somebody can amass as far as their fortune goes.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about it myself. You would never tell Michael Jordan that he needs to stop being so good at basketball. You would never have told Arnold Schwarzenegger he needs to stop being so good at acting and bodybuilding. When it comes to business, though, suddenly it becomes an issue where people say, well, you can't be that good at business.
Right.
And it is absolutely incredible the way that Elon Musk made his fortune. If you actually, I read his biography, and it's a very high risk but very high reward method of doing it, but it's very easy to mess up and go completely broke the way in the early stages of it. I don't know that we should necessarily cap it, but I can understand the concern with, limited resources, scarcity, things of that nature, where it becomes...
Well, you make the pie bigger. And that's the thing. We've got this idea that there's only so much in the pie, and we're divvying it up, and we're all fighting for the same pieces of pie. You can grow the pie.
Yeah.
And that's what innovation does, and that's what entrepreneurialism does, because you look at how we got wealthy. And I'm like, good for you, man. Way to go. Way to go. And there are people who are so angry. It's like, it's not fair. I work harder than he does. Well, maybe you do. He created things that are being sold and bought because they're improving the lives of millions of people. His work is more valuable than almost everybody else's because it improves the lives of people. That's what he's selling and getting rich off of.
Yeah, he's essentially a modern day Thomas Edison in a lot of
Kind
regards.
of, yeah.
I don't know. It is weird that so many people have a problem with an African immigrant succeeding in America. I don't know what that says about these people. But yeah, to your point, him having, and again, it's not he's got a pile of 1 trillion Bitcoins or whatever in his house. It's quite literally he has produced things worth that much in value, and I can't understand why people would possibly be mad about that unless they're just jealous.
Well, they're just jealous. They're jealous, and this is the socialist thinking that's come through. And here's what I wish people that 30% of Americans, some of them probably listening right now. Here's my challenge to you: is that if you say, okay, you can only have this much, and after that, you're not allowed to accumulate more. Okay, so let's take that to its logical conclusion. You're in the middle class. You're here in the United States. You're in the Midwest. You're in the St. Louis region. $100,000 is a pretty darn good income, I would think, right? I'm not quite there, but I would think $100,000. So what if we decided to say, you know what? In this part of the country, $100,000 is enough. After that, you're not allowed to have it. We're going to redistribute the pie to somebody else because they need it more. It's not fair that you should have it. So once you hit your $100,000 worth of productivity and you don't get to keep anything after that, are you going to keep innovating? Are you going to keep working? Are you going to keep producing? Are you going to keep doing the things that create wealth if you're not going to be permitted to keep it? And if you think government should limit you, no, you're going to look at what the system is and you're going to say, okay, that's where the end of my return on my investment comes, whether it's my time, my sweat, my labor, my investment. That's where it stops. I'm going to stop producing and creating and growing at that point.
Yeah.
Because I'm losing after that. That's natural economics.
Well, on the other hand, as well, is you have to look at the habits and behaviors that cause people to go through different cycles of wealth and poverty. You can look up how many of these lottery winners that they hit
End up broke.
End up broke by, I think it's a
majority.
90% of millionaires that do the generational wealth thing, the family loses all the wealth. They spend it all by the time the grandkids inherit it. It takes a lot more effort than people realize to really actually make and keep that much money, and especially have ideas that are worth that much. And then on the other hand, you don't hear these people complaining about Elon Musk that are mad at how many of our Congress members are out there on limited incomes, but then all their stock portfolios go up. Why are you not mad about the politicians not being effective with their spending, but you're mad at Elon Musk for making all this money?
Right. And by the way, Elon Musk created a bunch of millionaires this last couple of weeks because SpaceX. Did you see that? Like, there's a whole lot of people who were working for him, and they were given as part of their employment, like benefits, stock. I read one article of a janitor who took a bunch. He's now a millionaire because of the wealth that was created through the company here. And so capitalism, true capitalism, not cronyism, capitalism rewards those who solve problems. It rewards those who produce something that makes other people's lives better somehow.
Take Starlink, for example.
Right.
I mean, people that were not having access to good internet now do because of Elon Musk.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we have time to take a quick comment from Andre?
Yeah, if it can be quick, yeah. Who we got?
We got our friend Andre here.
Andre. Okay, Andre, just got a minute or so, but what's on your mind?
I am
I will preface this by saying I am not a socialist in any sort of way. However, I understand where they're coming from, in that you have somebody like Elon Musk who has amassed all this wealth, and then you have these organizations that I think are better than government organizations that are trying to do charity work and that kind of stuff, and they're just struggling day to day just to keep the lights on, much less actually do any work. So I'm not saying the government needs to get involved there. I think it's more a societal pressure needs to put pressure on these people to, of their own accord, kind of distribute their assets a little better.
And I think there was a push, I think, online for that. It's like, okay, the challenge is give it all away, Elon. You can never do it, you know. And
I'm not even saying give it all away
Yeah.
either. Yeah. It's like that's more wealth than like Elon and the next, million people that come after him of his descendants will never have to work a day in their life.
Yeah. Well, and also, a lot of his employees too. He created a bunch of millionaires because people invested in. Yeah, and
for sure.
Yeah, and that comes down to because there's the moral, personal ick. I don't like it. You're being selfish or whatever. Versus the idea of what should be forced and what should not be forced on that. To me, I'd say if government gets out of the way, more people get rich, and I want everybody to get rich.
I tend to agree with you there. Yeah.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. No, I get where you're coming from. Thanks so much, Andre. All right, got some thoughts on that? Let me know. 314-912-1019. Gene has an interesting thought on Rumble here. If we were not taxed to the hilt, charitable donations would most likely go up. Or he says charitable donations most likely will go up. Historically, that's what happens, and that's actually true. There's a lot of documentation of that as well. But the questions that were asked in the YouGov one, I just thought it was so interesting. If there were people who say government should stop you from accumulating this much, as though you were still going to produce as many things if you're not going to be rewarded for it.
Yeah, the same government that allowed us to get $39 trillion in national debt are the people that should be telling other people what to do with their money.
That's a great point.
Yeah, brilliant idea. What is actually a brilliant idea, though, is to send me some 80s bump music requests, because today is Bump Day.
Bump Day!
And I want to hear those songs that remind you of your loved ones. You can include a story a few people have already, or you can just send the song and know in your heart who it's for. But I want your 80s music, regardless of genre, that reminds you of a loved one. Send it to me, Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com, and let me know when you want to hear it.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Strong to severe thunderstorms possible this evening, but ahead of those storms, it turns hot, humid, and windy. A wind advisory this afternoon, some gusts out of the southwest up to 45 miles per hour. Meanwhile, temperatures spike to around 92 for the high. Let's be prepared for thunderstorms in the metro area from around 7 to 10 p.m. Wind, hail, tornadoes, all on the table. And then rain chances wind down quickly overnight as we drop to a low of 69. A spot shower or two around Thursday, much cooler at 79. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Fox News commentary with Jimmy Fallon next.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Here's Jimmy Fallon.
When you compare modern day things to actual humanitarian scourges that plagued our country, you're denigrating the actual atrocity. It's like when they say Trump is Hitler, Trump is a Jewish daughter. I don't know what you know about Hitler, but he wasn't a big player on the bar mitzvah circuit. Didn't get a lot of awards from the Jewish business community like Trump did. Didn't have a Jewish son-in-law. When you say things like Trump is Hitler, it's designed to get people revved up and make them support your cause because you're the good guys. Except the only problem is you're really denigrating the suffering of the people who actually were killed by Nazis, not to mention the heroism of the greatest generation that went over there and confronted the Nazis. There's no one listening that can give me a correlation between Hitler, who wiped out 6 million people. Okay, Trump isn't killing people. He's not trying to create a master race.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com. newslettersfinedjuless.com.
With all of the celebrations, anniversaries, and holidays coming up over the next few months, where are you going to go to get that special something for the special people in your life? Newsletters Fine Jewelers, of course. Newsletters Fine Jewelers, found 24/7 at wowdiamonds.com. Tim Jones here to tell you all about Newsletters Fine Jewelers. Richard Newsletter and his team serving our region since 1961 with awesome, honest jewelry solutions. They've got everything from diamonds to wedding engagement rings, hand-engraved items, pendants, earrings, and so much more. You can find them 24/7, wowdiamonds.com. That's Newsletters Fine Jewelers, wowdiamonds.com.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Mayela Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
Download the all-new NewsTalk STL app.
Love the all-new NewsTalk STL app.
It is awesome.
And listen anytime.
Love the NewsTalk STL app.
Anywhere.
Hey, Chris Arps from the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
Okay, this is interesting with the data center thing. Obviously, we've covered what's happening in Festus with all of the electoral consequences and a community divided. We talked to Tim Whitney a little bit earlier, who's running for county executive in Jefferson County. His take, his personal observances was, yeah, it's about 50-50 split.
Mm-hmm.
That's about the worst place you could be as a candidate or an elected official.
Yeah.
Because you're going to piss somebody off one way or the other. Lincoln County, you had the debacle, a week or two ago where they were going to have a big public hearing on it, but then they wanted to shut off the public comment section.
Wow.
Well, because there had been some others in the area where it literally went on for like 13 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but if you're going to have a public hearing, then you need to hear from the public.
It's kind of implied by the name, isn't it?
It kind of is. So what's interesting is I get this note from the governor's office yesterday, and it was a press release that goes out to all the media, and it was touting a new data center. They didn't even call it a data center. They called it a data center campus. So this is a large-scale project, much bigger than what's proposed in Festus. Festus, we're talking $6 billion. Not small change.
No.
We're talking a massive investment there. And then, obviously, the controversy isn't that, do you want a $6 billion investment in your community? Of course, almost everybody would say that. But they're saying, but what's the trade-off? And that's where the rub is. Same thing in Lincoln County. Same thing on the other side of the river, on our friends on the Illinois side with like Granite City and even Troy, Illinois as well. So in Montgomery County, and by the way, Montgomery County, hey, how are you? Because that is in the NewsTalk STL listing area. That is 94.1 territory right there.
Oh, good morning.
$10 billion project.
Wow.
That's for the campus. And all I could do was go search around online and on social media, and I didn't find any organized resistance to it or anything that was big enough to really show up as a blip on the screen. You see obviously massive organized resistance in Festus that's resulted in half the city government getting thrown out in the last election, and then a recall effort that's probably not going to make it onto the ballot, but it's a successful petition drive for that, even if it's not going to make it on the ballot. So you very well could have the rest of the city government beaten in the next election. I mean, maybe they'll hold their spot. Who knows? But you've got a very, very fired up opposition to data centers there. You've got the opposition in the city. as well, and then you've got them everywhere. But Montgomery County, they seem to be a little more welcoming with open arms in that part of the region.
So either they're not aware of what's being proposed or what this development will be, and that's why it's quiet, or they're just okay with it, I
They're
guess.
just, I think, and a lot, and some, now a lot of the pushback, I think, in Festus actually is local, organic, and people don't like it. Some other people aren't sure, and they hear we're supposed to be afraid of it, and so they do that. But then there are others who say, I've looked into it, I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
What I can tell with Montgomery County is you've got a rural county, and you've got a lot of farmland, you've got smaller communities, you've got a lot of space, and you've got Amazon coming in and saying, we're going to spend $10 billion, we're going to have 400 pretty highly paid jobs, and in the meantime, we're going to have thousands of construction jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the amount of money we're going to end up paying in property taxes. Here's how that's going to work. And you probably look around going, school district could use some new buses. You know what? Our emergency services could certainly use a few upgrades. And so Amazon is part of the deal that was struck with Montgomery County and Governor Kehoe and some others. They're going to spend about $3 million to help them upgrade their emergency services dispatch.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And they're also going to help build, I guess, a community center out at the fairgrounds. And so they're doing the things to kind of, grease the skids on the public relations front and that sort of thing, which is just smart PR, but it is PR. I mean, $10 million in donations is nothing to Amazon, obviously, but it certainly benefits that part of the region right here. Are there tax incentives and abatements? I don't know. I've been trying to nail that down, and hopefully the next day or so I'll be able to do that. I don't know what the final details are, but we do know that the chief concerns that we hear are electric usage and putting the burden on everybody else. And the way that can work sometimes is, okay, there's going to be a massive data center. It's going to take up a lot of energy. The electric company, Ameren or whoever, they're going to have to come in and build new upgrades to the grid, and somebody's got to pay for that, and then they take bonds out to pay for it, and we all get added. It all gets added to our bill. That's how that cost gets passed on. Or in other cases, they say, hey, you're going to use up so much, we're going to give you a bulk discount, and then other people are saying, well, wait a minute, if they're getting a discount, doesn't that mean that I'm covering the rest of that? To some degree.
Mm-hmm.
The deal that was struck here, according to Amazon and according to Governor Kehoe's office and according to Montgomery County officials, is that Amazon will not get a discount from Ameren, and they will pay 100% of their electric bill, and they are going to pay for the connections to be built to the data center from the grid.
So they're entirely responsible for all the costs of building and developing this.
That is basically almost word for word what the statement from the governor says. And also the same with water, that they will pay the entire water bill. Now, a lot of the water that goes in, they've got technology now that a lot of it just kind of goes in the loop, and then it cools things down, and it goes and the water gets cooled. And so they're trying to get out ahead of this on a messaging perspective and saying we're checking these boxes. Now, there's nothing in the statement about the noise that's involved. However, Montgomery County, very rural. We're not talking St. Louis County here. We're not talking St. Charles County. Lincoln County is growing like crazy. It's less rural every day. Jefferson County growing like crazy, less rural every day. Montgomery County certainly has communities in there, has towns in there, but there's more wide open space. So noise concerns may not be as big of a deal out there. So they're actually getting out ahead of it. I'm sure there's somebody who's not wild about it, because anytime you got a small town, I've lived in a number of them, they like things the way they are.
Yeah.
And they're looking at this and they're probably saying, we're just going to be another city in another 10 or 20, 50, 30 years. And that may be the case.
Well, certainly with something of this scale, you're going to need to have more developments for at least housing to
Oh,
house,
sure.
the permanent workers, maybe temporary housing for the construction workers. And again, a lot of the people that I've met that live in rural areas, it's either you were born there and you were raised there, and that's, you want to keep things the way you grew up with, or you move there to get away from people and not have a whole flood of new people coming in.
And see, that's that character of your community. It is going to change in Montgomery County. And what they're clearly betting on and banking on is that it's going to change in positive ways, or the ways that are going to change are going to be limited to this area, and we're just going to take the benefit and try to keep our way of life in the other areas. The reality is that this is going to start attracting people to want to move to Montgomery County, because you've got, outside of Warren County, you've got Montgomery County right there. So this is going to start attracting those jobs, and it's going to start attracting those investments, because Other businesses follow where growth is happening. And growth is the farther away from the city you get, that's where you're basically buying low in hopes of investing.
Yeah.
There are people now, used to be, hey, you get out of the city, come to St. Louis County. Now it's, you want to get out of St. Louis County, you go to St. Charles County or Jefferson County, or you go to Warren County. Now we're already looking at Lincoln County, and we're looking at Montgomery County just out. That's how far out the growth is going. And you may say, man, you're looking at an hour and 15 minutes into the city. Who can do that? Well, you make work from home now.
That's true.
We're connected. You don't have to be in a population dense area.
It's also a very good point.
Yeah. And so that's one of the ways. And of course, one of the reasons that we can do that is because we have the cloud and the technology and the connectivity, and there has to be a data center to do that. It's got to go somewhere in the world. And then the argument is, where does it go? Does it go here or does it go somewhere else?
All things to consider.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'd like to remind everybody that we are going to be turning 5, not you and I personally, but the station.
I'm a big kid now. I can't
be...
believe I just sang on the radio.
You're ruining my thing here, Mike.
I just ruined a lot of people's. Yeah.
We're going to be celebrating our 5-year anniversary or birthday of being here as a station, and we're going to do it in the most spectacular way that you can imagine by having the retro nerds come out and perform and meeting up at Frankie Martin's Garden. It's going to be Friday night, June 26th. From 7 to 10 p.m. on the outdoor stage. It's an all-ages event, so bring the kids, bring the grandkids, bring everybody.
This is in Cottleville, and here's the thing: is there's going to be food trucks there. You can go you can go buy some food, you can go buy some drinks, or just come out and say hi and hang out with us. The Retro Nerds played at our first birthday party.
Wow!
Back in the day, and they blew the roof off the place. It is so much fun. We're going to be underneath that pavilion, that stage with a great big screen. If you know the Cottleville area, you know what we're talking about. No cost to get in, no reservations. You just come in and hang out with us and party with us.
Well, I was going to say, you have to pay me $20 to get in, but since you've ruined my scheme here, it is free, and there's really no excuse to not show up and say hi. So come on out and celebrate with us. That, again, is going to be June 26th.
Jerome the bouncer, we should have a code for everybody. When you try to hit them up for a cover charge, they say the code, and you're like, okay, fine, go in for free.
It's not your typical game day look. Sunday, June 28th at Busch Stadium, the Cardinals face the Miami Marlins, and fans can receive a soccer-style Cardinals jersey presented by Purina. Clean, sporty, and unmistakably Cardinals, it brings a fresh energy to the ballpark from first pitch on, and kids take home a vibrant Cardinals soccer ball to keep the action going long after the final out. 2 ways to play, one big Sunday. Get tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
Every Sunday home game is a Kids Sunday at Busch Stadium. From Team Fredbird and games to a kid-friendly DJ, ice cream, and family-favorite activities. Sundays are built for young fans. Plus, select Sundays feature kids run the bases after the game. It's a day made for smiles, memories, and Cardinals baseball together. Make Sundays your family tradition at Busch Stadium. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/KidsSunday.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli. We're sitting here with our great friend, Chris Cooper. Hi, Chris.
What's going on, Vic? How are you?
I hear you wrote another book. This one's an e-book. Is that right?
The Business Owner's Playbook for Financial Clarity. So it is a great book for entrepreneurs, a very short guide. Give people, business owners, the ability to understand key questions that are important, such as succession planning, legacy planning, getting the IRS out of our pockets, right? Because do you like paying taxes?
I do not.
I don't think anybody likes paying taxes, right? That just makes sense. And then always talking about protection. And then the other thing from a business owner perspective, what is the biggest asset a business owner has? Probably their business itself, right? We need to make sure we understand what the value of that business is as well.
So this new book, I'm sure, is incredibly expensive, right? How much?
No, it's a free resource.
Oh, it's free.
We provide guidance, we provide education because we want to make sure people feel educated and understanding because sometimes you don't know what questions to ask, and we need to make sure we help arm people with information to ask the right question.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
All right, got a lot of stuff going on here. I think we should work in one more kind of news dump, one more news roundup. A Missourian is among those charged in connection with the plot to attack the UFC event at the White House that happened this past weekend. We'll give you those details. Also, we have got the Cardinals on quite a roll right now. Man, they are playing some darn good baseball.
Wow.
It is 8:50, coming up on 8:51 right now. Let's do one more news dump.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by Lee May Concrete and Block.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out.
You know, I mean, they got all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
The FBI has arrested 5 people in connection with an alleged drone terror attack that was planned for last Sunday's America 250 UFC event at the White House. Obviously, that plan was thwarted. Joining Fox and Friends, Vice President J.D. Vance calling for a de-escalation in the violent political rhetoric. And that was, of course, him being asked about the plot to attack that event and cause mass casualties.
This is a very, very dark stuff. And unfortunately, we were talking about this a little bit off camera, but this is what happens when people turn the rhetoric up so loud that disagreeing with somebody is a cause for violence. That's the place that we've come to, unfortunately, with too much of our political rhetoric. We got to tell everybody to tone it down.
Okay, so officials and investigators say the plan involved drones equipped with explosive devices being sent into the UFC event. And we're talking a lot of people on the grounds of the White House in order to cause a mass evacuation event. And then the plot was to have shooters at different places where they could target specific people or hit as many people as possible while they were being basically ushered out through the security checkpoints. Among the 5 suspects is a 32-year-old man from Northwest Missouri. Daniel Eskridge is accused of coordinating the plan. And what we know, or what we're being told so far, is that this was beyond just the fantasy stage. They were planning. Some of them had purchased a lot of ammunition and weapons. Some of them had trained and traveled to train, and they were looking at reasons from I hate capitalism to I hate Trump to I hate Israel and Jewish people. And you had a lot of anti-Semitism involved in some of this as well.
Yeah, this had been planned out for a couple of weeks before the event was scheduled to happen, but it got to the point where, I mean, they were organizing into different groups with specific roles, and they were accepting people to take volunteers to take those roles. So this is not just hey, wouldn't it be great if this terrible thing happened? This was them actively planning and actively recruiting for an insane domestic terrorist plot.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It was a terroristic plot. That's precisely what it is. Not activism. It was terrorism. Yep. All right. President Trump denying that the U.S. government has a fund with $30 billion set aside for Iran and Iran's reconstruction. That's, of course, some of the rumors that are out there as part of the White House's deal to end the war. And this comes after Vice President Vance said Iran could have access to upwards of $300 billion. Senate Majority Leader John Thune was on Fox's special report saying the law right now requires Congress to review any agreement. And he says Republicans are going to stand by the trust but verify approach.
It doesn't require that we vote on it. But I do believe there are going to be some hard questions that get asked. And a lot of it will revolve around what are the financial incentives here and what are they conditioned upon. And I think those are, at least at this point, we're seeing some anecdotal stuff out there, but we need to see the hard facts.
Okay, so whatever the deal is scheduled to be signed in Switzerland on Friday. And you say, okay, well, what is in the deal? What is in the plan? We don't know. There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of secondhand stuff, but we don't know what actually is in there just yet. So all the media telling you, here's what our leaked source said. We don't know.
Yeah, I've seen reports of different outlets claiming that they have the leaked version, but even as of this morning, President Trump was saying that it's not even the final draft yet, and that they have not committed to actually signing it. They still want to make sure everything is
And that's not the end of the negotiations with whatever is signed. There's actually more to go.
Yeah, this is just a step towards getting an actual solution completely done. But yeah, don't trust anybody that claims that they know, because right now I don't think we even know.
I think there's a very, very small number of people who know what's on the table, and it ain't the media, and it's not your favorite influencer on TikTok, just to point out. All right, no new apartments, at least no new ones for at least a year. That is a proposal by 2 O'Fallon City Council members on the Missouri side. Fox 2 is reporting that Amanda Taylor and Doug Link are suggesting a 1-year ban on approving any new apartment development in the city. At this point, there's no formal vote on that idea scheduled. A similar proposal is being discussed by the St. Charles County government, and a lot of these discussions are obviously being spurred on by the race for county executive in St. Charles County.
I never would have thought that apartments were such a contentious...
Apparently that's a dirty word right now.
Yeah,
Apartments
it's
are a dirty word.
don't swear.
Yep. Okay, our friends at Channel 4 say this is a first alert weather day. Possibly strong storms are going to move into the region this afternoon. And as of right now, the storms could be moving into the region basically around the afternoon drive time. So we're looking at 5 o'clock-ish, something like that, 4:30-ish maybe. But it's supposed to arrive in the St. Louis metro area specifically sometime between 5:30, and 7 o'clock. Damaging winds, hail are possible tonight. We're being told to watch out for possible tornadic activity. We don't know. But as with any forecast, it can change. So just make sure you are keeping an eye on the forecast and you are tracking what's happening, because this could be one that, blows over that lawn furniture on your patio. Could be one that drops a branch on your house. Could be one that just blows through and makes a mess and then leaves. We just don't know, but we're going to have more of an idea probably early mid-afternoon as to what the timing is going to be. But the bottom line is this one could pack a little bit of a punch, and then it's probably going to move on pretty fast.
Yeah, this is one where you want to keep an eye on what the Dopplers are saying for sure.
Yeah, and here's what's interesting. What I'm looking for tomorrow morning is if this storm hits as hard as what could be, what's it going to do to that sinkhole downtown St. Louis?
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's they're trying to plan for that already, but there's only so much you can do. So we'll see what happens there. All right, let's see here. Let's talk about the new trend of boiling your hot dogs in Gatorade earlier.
Oh, my goodness.
There's a new social media trend that says boil your hot dogs in blue Gatorade and you can have blue hot dogs. Why?
And that makes it healthier, right?
Oh,
I mean, what is the
what
are you cheating?
Electrolytes. I don't know. But apparently that's a thing. And somebody tested it out and like, yeah, it actually works. All right. The Cardinals win the second game of their series against the Padres. Final score last night at Busch Stadium, 3-2. Andre Palante picking up his 8th win of the season. He pitched 7 full innings. Birds are going to try for a sweep this afternoon. Game time is 1:15. They're going to have Kyle Leahy on the mound for this one. Cardinals are still in second place in the National League Central. They are now 4.5 games behind the Brewers in the Central Division, meaning they gained a game just over the last couple of days. If the playoffs were to start right now, Cardinals are in the wild card spot. They're in a good spot right now.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad?